YouTube going, TikTok going. Sunday evening, time for debates, right? Mm, yeah, trying to finish getting things set up here. Oh, I suppose I should make sure the guest queue actually have that open so I can see when people are trying to join and actually have the conversations. Oh yeah, super early. Yeah. Uh, okay. Hey, thanks for the support, Bradley and Bradley. I appreciate all Bradleys. Didn't complete the Heart Me mission? I don't know what that is. TikTok does some weird stuff sometimes, and I have no idea what the hell it's trying to tell me. W. Bradley's indeed. W. Bradley's indeed. But yeah. Oh, I suppose I can close out of this extra nonsense. We'll get this and then add that in here. All right. All right. So yeah, if you are interested in having the conversation, feel free to join up. I'm just looking for folks who are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Not going to be holding my breath that will get too much, but hey, maybe today is the day somebody converts me, right? Thanks for the follow, James. Oh, thanks for the shares and the likes, everybody. Definitely helps, make sure that we're in the algorithm and make sure that we can have some good conversations this evening. Um, mm, Open up for opposing voices. This is a debate stream. I'm looking for folks who disagree with me to request up, and we can discuss why you think I'm wrong and why I think you're wrong, and see if we can come to some kind of conclusion, right? See if we can come to some kind of consensus between us and agree whether or not we should believe in a God. I suppose I can throw this up here. I do have a YouTube. I'm streaming there simultaneously to streaming here. So you could still watch over there and then trying to get some more subscribers over there. That's going to open some things up and allow me to do more. Hey, thanks for the support. Thanks for the support, Christina. Apparently I can't talk. Got to get that out before the debates start, right? But yeah, if you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God, feel free to request up. Be happy to chat. We'll try to see if we can have our first conversation here. Hi, Sass. How old are you?
What? I'm 36.
Do you believe
Is
in a
your
God?
name Olga? Yeah, I believe in God.
Okay,
Is your
cool.
name Olga?
Yeah, what God do you believe in?
I'm Muslim. Alhamdulillah.
Cool. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
I wouldn't say, I don't know what kind of argument, what kind of evidence are you looking for? Are you looking for evidence with respect to empiricism or with just respect to testimony? Because I do believe that truth lies in both. Truth can lie in both empiricism and testimony. What do you say with regards to that?
I say that testimony means nothing. I mean, the only reason that I would care about testimony is if we first had a way to determine some kind of epistemic tool that would allow us to tell which people who profess their view through testimony are interpreting their experiences correctly and which ones are not. So if you have that kind of tool, then we could talk about that, but I wouldn't be interested in talking about the testimony itself.
I mean, the two I would definitely be. Would you take human testimony or human belief over the course of over the course of the earth or since the beginning of time,
No,
as that majority of humans
no,
tend to
that's
believe in a
meaningless.
super. No, it's actually
Well, you asked
meaningful.
me a
I'll tell you.
question. You asked me a question, and I'm telling you
Okay,
that
no,
that's
no, I haven't finished.
meaningless.
I haven't finished yet, Oga. I
You
haven't
asked
finished
me
yet.
a question, and I
No, I
answered your
haven't.
question by
Oga, I
telling you
haven't.
that you don't have to
Okay, Oga,
finish, Sass.
Oga, I haven't
Sass,
finished yet.
excuse me. You don't have to finish because the
No,
thing
I
that you're
have to
talking
finish
about is
first, at
meaningless.
least.
Wow,
No,
it's almost like I'm answering your question and trying to tell you
no,
why
no, I
we.
haven't finished the
Yeah,
question
because
first.
you haven't heard what I'm saying. I'm trying to tell
No,
you
no,
why it doesn't matter, Sass. Can you give me
no, no.
5
Let me
seconds?
finish first. At least
No.
you can tell me why it doesn't matter.
This is actually my stage here. This is actually my space. I get to decide how things work here and how the
This is
conversations
actually
go.
proof that.
Yeah, exactly. It proves that you can't have an actual adult conversation. So the issue here is I told you exactly what would need to happen, what you would need to present in order for us to be able to meaningfully discuss testimony, and you don't want to do that. Um, yeah. Okay, so if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining the guest queue, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Zion, how old are you?
You're a fat ass nigga.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think that. I mean, I am fat. I mean, that's true. Um, oh, damn. Thanks, Casey. That's fucking awesome. Appreciate that so much. Holy shit. It really is people like Casey and the Bradleys, and I mean, obviously, so many others, Poopman Jones, and um, um, Bob, shit, man. I mean, Mikey and Bob is anti-theist, and fuck Christina, and like, there's so many people that are in here all the time supporting. It makes such a massive difference to me. And I'm trying to continue improving the stream. I'm trying to, I got the new camera, may have to get a different new camera, but trying to continue making improvements to things, and it's the support that you guys show that makes that a lot easier than it would be otherwise. Hi, Miggy. Good to see you here as always. Okay, so again, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Isaiah. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Yeah, well, that's obviously not true. All right. Oh, yeah, man. Combo of Alien and Jurassic Park is good shit. Hey, thanks for the hat. Appreciate it, Poopman Jones. Yeah, that was definitely a child. um, yeah, thanks everybody for the hey, very nice, very nice. I fucking love that. Yeah, thanks everybody for the taps and the shares and everything. Definitely helps, keep us in the algorithm and make sure that we have people coming in that want to actually have conversations. So yeah, if you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God, feel free to join up. But yeah, don't currently have anybody requesting, but we'll see if anybody actually wants to have the conversation. Okay. I keep thinking about doing like Christianity specific lives, but I don't know. I feel like discussing God is the way to go because it kind of captures more, make sure that we can have a little bit more variety of conversation. Bald. Oh, I had no idea that I had just gotten done shaving my head fucking 20 minutes ago. Yeah, but let me think here. So something that I used to do more often during these downtimes is kind of like talk about arguments, because I would spend all my time, not on here. Well, not all my time, but a lot of time, specifically thinking about arguments, coming up with new arguments, those kinds of things. But here lately, I've been spending so much of my free time reading, philosophy books and stuff that I don't I don't consistently have new arguments all the time like I did for a little while there. Like reading right now, I'm reading a book about philosophy of mind, and then also I was it took me a couple times, but I read a paper about logical realism, and that's super interesting. I don't want to like uh, jump the gun massively or anything, and like start making huge claims about my my position, but I don't know. Logical realism is actually quite attractive. A certain type of metaphysical logical realism. But kind of odd. Thank you so much for the support. That's fucking awesome. I genuinely, sincerely appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, Angry Neeson, good to have you as always. My favorite philosopher. Okay, so I mean, like that kind of depends. I think that in terms of just like the person that I want to like hear talk the most, probably Alex Malpass. I absolutely love Alex Malpass. I think that he is so intelligent, and I very much admire his approach to debates and conversations. In terms of people to read, I'm not sure. Brantham John, I know who you are. I don't currently know who you are, but maybe I know who you are. Weirdly, okay, so speaking of knowing who people are, no, Alex Malpass. That's who I'm talking about. But speaking of knowing people, my band played a show this weekend, and at the show, a guy that I have known for like 20 years came up to me. We chatted a little bit, and then he said, by the way, I've seen your videos on TikTok. I thought that was a pretty. Hey, I was so slow on that one, but I thought that was crazy. Thank you, everybody, for the support. But yeah, I will move on to the next guest. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Oh, I should have been shilling. I forgot about shilling.
You're a bitch ass nigga.
Okay, I mean, I don't know what you think that does. Like, what do you think you're accomplishing? Fair enough, but question new. What the fuck are you talking about? Brantham John, I don't see all of the messages. I will like randomly respond sometimes if I'm looking at the chat. I don't pay attention to the chat. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to have conversations, debates specifically. So yeah, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence for God if you're going to request out.
Hello.
Hi, are you at least 18?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Which one?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
There probably isn't too much evidence. It's just a faith kind of thing. I mean, there might be evidence, but it's kind of, you just believe which book's real, your book or, my book or the Muslim's book or whoever's book.
Why would anybody believe things based on a book?
And that's how it is. You don't see us coming or chimpanzees or fishes or rocks. So it's kind of out of a book.
I don't know what you're talking about. We have lots of evidence for lots of positions, and there's lots of reasons to take different positions on different issues. Why would we simply read a book and then just assume that what this book says is true?
Is there any evidence from a monkey turning to a human?
I know that you don't want to actually address the conversation or just the substance, so you're trying to run away to a different conversation. But how about you actually engage with what I'm saying?
What are you saying, sir?
So you're just not paying attention? You're just here to like ramble about whatever you want to say, and you don't want to actually have a conversation? because that's the impression I'm getting.
Let's have a conversation.
Okay,
Hey.
fair enough. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're actually awake, and then make sure that you're 18 plus, and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. I don't know if Malik is. Oh, hi, Malik.
Yes.
How old are you?
Hi. What was the question? I didn't hear it.
I did not understand what you said. How old are you?
I am 79.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
I couldn't answer that because I don't know what God is.
Okay. Well, I'm just looking to talk to people who do believe in a God. So have a good one.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hi, Alon. Are you at least 18?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yeah, I'm believing in God.
Okay. And what God do you believe in?
And the Jewish God.
Okay. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
In the Jewish religion, you have like you know the Christianity. You have like the Old Testament, and you have the story of Moses when he got the Torah. So this is the best evidence that we have.
I'm sorry. I must have missed the part where you gave the evidence. What's the evidence?
That Moses get the Torah.
No, that's the claim.
In front of front of thousands of people.
Yep, that's the claim. What's the evidence for the claim?
Until this day, we're learning about the Torah.
Did you hear the question that I asked you?
Yes.
Yeah, what was the question that I asked you?
If I have an evidence about the event.
Yeah. And so instead of just saying that it happened, why don't you give the evidence that it happened? Why do you believe that it happened? Why should a rational person believe that it happened?
Maybe because you have intuition about it.
Well, intuition isn't something that would compel a rational person to believe in anything. So my question was, why would a rational person believe that the claims you're making are true?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. So you're saying that you're not a rational person, so you have no idea what would compel a rational person to believe?
Compel rational? I didn't understand this word. Can you like explain to me?
So compel means like give someone a reason to do something. So I'm saying if you were a rational person, you would have reasons for your beliefs. I'm asking you for a reason for your beliefs, and you're saying that you don't have one. That tells me that you're an irrational person. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes, you understand correctly.
Okay.
But
well, I would recommend that you stop being irrational, and if you ever stop being irrational, then you can come back and we could try to talk again. Have a good one. I don't know why you would come up here and then say, yeah, no, I'm totally irrational. Like, okay. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. I was trying to talk and type at the same time, and that does not work. Does not work very well at all. Okay. Yes, I used to be Christian. All right. See if the next person will connect. Doesn't look like it. Bueller. Oh. Hi, is Rasia or whatever your name is, are you at least 18?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in my 30s.
Okay. And do you believe in a God?
Yeah.
All right. Which God?
I believe in, obviously, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the living God.
Okay. Well, that is an ambiguous answer, so I'm asking for an unambiguous answer. Which God do you believe in?
Well, he's known as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yep,
Everyone
three
is
different
unique.
religions. There are at least 3 different gods that are called the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So that's an ambiguous answer, which I just explained to you. So I'm going to ask one more time, and if you're unable to provide an unambiguous answer, I'll simply move on to the next person. What God do you believe in?
Yeah, I believe in the King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Okay. Well, since you're too embarrassed to even tell us what God you believe in, I'm just going to move on to the next person. I mean, I would be embarrassed if I was dumb enough to believe in God too, but then in that case, I just wouldn't go up onto a stream to defend it. All right. I'm not going to do their work for them. If they, hey, thanks for the hat and mustache. Hi, Lois. Are you at least 18?
Oh, yes, and plus.
Okay.
Plus some. I
Fantastic.
could let a few people ate some numbers. Okay.
Do you believe in a God, Lois?
I sure do.
Okay. Which God do you believe in?
I sure do. I'm the same one that the other one said.
Well, the last
God
person,
of
because he didn't.
Abraham.
Okay. Well,
Abraham.
just like I did
Okay,
with
I
that
just
person,
answered
Lois.
it.
Lois.
Excuse me.
Lois.
Excuse
Lois.
me.
Yep. This is
You
my.
asked me a question.
Okay. You need to stop. This is my stage. This is my platform. I determine how things go here. If you don't like how I do things, then you don't have to be here. So I'm asking what God you believe in, and I need an unambiguous answer. If you cannot provide an unambiguous answer, if you can only say something like the God of Abraham and you won't tell me which God you actually believe in, then clearly you're not a serious interlocutor and you're not worth talking to, in a serious way. So I will ask you one more time, and if you cannot give a straight, unambiguous answer, I'm just going to move on to the next person. Lois, what God do you believe in? You would need to unmute yourself so you can speak, Lois. You're on mute. I invited you to unmute.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah. So now if you can't tell me just unambiguously what God you believe in, I'm going to move on. So what God do you believe in?
The God that I serve. You asked if God is.
All right. Fair enough. No, there are 3 different religions that claim to believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And each of those religions gives their gods properties that contradict the other gods. So it's not possible to believe in all 3 of the Abrahamic gods. Yeah, I agree, Detergent. They are absolutely ashamed of their God. That's why they won't admit what God they believe in. But, I mean, to be fair, I would also be ashamed to believe in God. What do you mean, please explain, Lois? I explained it to you multiple times. If you believe in the Muslim God, just say that you believe in the Muslim God. If you believe in the Christian God, just say that you believe in the Christian God. If you believe in the Jewish God, just say that you believe in the Jewish God. There's no reason to make it into this fucking game. All right. So, well, I wouldn't encourage them to say Yahweh, Poopman Jones, because Yahweh also is 2 different religions. That's still ambiguous. All right, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God.
Hello.
Hi, Dre. How old are you?
Wait, how can I say your name? I'm 18.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I do. I believe in Jesus Christ.
Fantastic. Finally, someone who's not embarrassed to admit what God they believe in. I mean, you
Nice
should
to
be
meet you,
embarrassed,
man.
but at least you're not. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
My best argument would be like everything that exists has a cause, or like a moral law, right? A universal moral law that all innate humans have, right?
That
I
was
feel like there has to
quite
be like
the
a
pivot
moral
there.
lawgiver.
That was quite the pivot there.
No?
Okay. So, well, because you started out like you were going to give the kalam and then you jumped to the moral argument. Do you want to discuss the moral argument?
Let's focus more on the moral argument. I think that we could get some groundwork on that one.
Okay. So I assume that you're saying if objective moral facts exist, then God exists. Objective moral facts exist, therefore God exists, right? Or am I misunderstanding?
Yeah.
So the problem with this argument is that it's self-defeating. If you try to demonstrate that the second premise is true, that objective moral facts exist, you will ruin the argument. because either you're going to say that objective moral facts exist and you can demonstrate it without reference to God, in which case you would have disproven the first premise, ruining the argument, or you try to say that objective moral facts exist and you do have to reference God in that demonstration, in which case you've made the argument circular, because you're saying God exists because morals exist and morals exist because God exists. So essentially that just means God exists because God exists, and that's a circular argument. The only way that you could ever accept the conclusion is if you already believed it before hearing the argument. So this is not a good argument. I don't recommend using it. If you want to continue discussing it, I guess we can, but I would need you to respond to those points.
I mean, okay, so can I pivot on to something else then? Because what I'm hearing is I'm a very rational person. I'd like to think so, and I'm not closed-minded. I do like to listen, and I like to be educated. So, if I could go on to something else, if that's all right with you.
I cannot imagine a better response, Trey. What would you like to talk about next?
Honestly, I've been coming to like recently. All right, this I just want to pivot onto this. Recently, I've had the argument that if there is no God, then human life innately just doesn't have any value, right? Because then we would just be a clump of cells, just having chemical reactions and doing whatever. Then there wouldn't be any purpose in us living, and I'd hate to have a life where I vision that, right? Or if there is a God, then there would be some type of end goal or purpose to life. Now I know that could be just like a moral factor, but I haven't seen any proof that we are just cells having chemical reactions and we are worthless. I haven't seen any proof of that other fact.
Okay. So there are two things that I want to say to respond to that. Number one, and this is going to feel dismissive, but I don't mean it that way. But just because you don't like the entailment of, a specific view, doesn't mean that the view is wrong. If you could show
Truth
that
is
there's,
subjective, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I understand that. Truth is very subjective. I get that.
No, I don't think truth is subjective at all. I think truth is that which that which corresponds to reality, and I think reality is objective. So truth, because it's grounded in correspondence to reality, truth must be objective. So I don't think that truth is subjective. I don't agree with that at all, and that's certainly not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying though is that if I if I pull up my bank account, right, like my banking app, and I don't like the amount of money in the account, that doesn't mean that I should just believe that there's something wrong with the app and that it's lying to me and that I actually have millions of dollars in my account. Just because I don't like the entailment of believing that the app is giving me accurate information doesn't mean I'm justified in believing the app is not giving me accurate information, right? So it's like, if it was true that, like the correct worldview led to the conclusion that life has no meaning, not liking that conclusion has nothing to do with whether or not the view is true. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And then the second thing that I wanted to say is that I think that you actually have it backwards. So I think that saying that life wouldn't be meaningful under atheism, but it is meaningful under theism, I think is entirely flipped around. Because under theism, all we can ever be, like if our meaning is given to us by some other being, right, then we don't actually have any meaning of our own, right? Because then, like, think about what kinds of things in your life are assigned meaning externally. They're objects. A hammer is assigned the meaning of, pounding nails in. A basketball is assigned the meaning of being, a tool to play a game. My car is assigned the meaning, the purpose of getting me wherever I want to go, right? Like objects, things are given their meaning. Whereas agents, people who have the ability to choose and decide and live our lives, the only way that we have value is when we decide what is valuable for ourselves, because it's not given to us externally. That would make us an object. Instead, we become valuable by valuing other things ourselves. So value comes from value, not from, like, my value comes from the fact that I put value on other things, and your value comes from the fact that you put value on other things. your value if it came from something external, like if your parents got to tell you what your life is about, what your purpose is in life, and what you're supposed to do with yourself, that would just make you like their pet. It would make you their object, some kind of toy, like a puppet. And it's the same thing if our
Yes.
meaning comes from God, then all we are is puppets. We're like, it's like if you ever watch like a claymation movie, right? Like we just become the little figures that he's moving around to play out the story that he wants, and we actually don't mean anything. You know, the story itself might have some meaning for God, but we don't actually mean anything in that scenario. So, like I said, number one, I think that saying that, you know, this view can't be right because I don't like the entailment of it, I just think that's a bad way to look at things. Number two, I think that you're just wrong and have it backwards because value only exists if there is no God.
All right. That's another. I love that you've given me another perspective, and I'll really, you know what I'm saying, I'll give that to you. I really appreciate that. Honestly, if I'm going to be very honest here, I'm speaking for most Christians. There is no physical way without appealing to like somebody's morals, without genuinely showing someone why God would exist. We would have to pivot onto somebody's personal experience in their life. There's no genuine way in showing that, hey, you know, God is right then and there, or so and so. It would more likely be somebody's awe or feeling that, oh, I feel something in this and that, or I have an enlightenment in a certain situation. There's no, we cannot do that, and that's where the faith aspect comes into fruition. But yeah, that
Well, Dre,
honestly, man, I
well,
can't tell you if God is nonfiction or fiction.
Well, I'd like to
I really
respond to what
can't.
you're saying there. I think that, like, I understand that it's a really common thing for people who believe in God to say that, like, well, you can't prove it or disprove it unless you have your own personal experience. But what you're doing is a couple of things. Number one, you're making the view unfalsifiable, which means that nothing can ever actually be evidence for the view. Right. So not only are you saying, because you're saying there's nothing that could ever prove this wrong, you're also saying there's nothing that could ever give you a reason to believe in it. And then, shit, I lost the other thing that I was going to say, because you're saying that personal experiences. Oh, okay. So what I was going to say is that, like, we should never believe things just on personal experience. If I, you know, that every single spiritual tradition out there has people who have had a personal experience that, from their perspective, demonstrates the truth of whatever thing that they believe in. There are people out there who are witches and warlocks or whatever, and they believe in, like, the magical rituals that they do. And they, you know, from their personal experiences of the things that they've seen, they think that that's true, and all other religious beliefs are false. There are lots of people who believe, obviously, in Christianity, and they think all other religions are false. There are lots of people who have personal experiences that lead them to believe in Islam, and they think all of the other religions are false, and so on and so forth. You know, for Hinduism and Buddhism and any other, you know, number of spiritual traditions and practices. The problem is they all have the exact same evidence, like the same strength, the same validity of evidence, but they all come to
Oh,
contradictory conclusions. So if we have the same degree of evidence for a whole bunch of contradictory conclusions, clearly that type of evidence on its own isn't enough to tell us what actually is true.
okay.
And that's what I'm
I hear
interested in,
you.
is what's actually true.
I mean, I'm with you on that, my friend. I was I was an atheist most of my life until I came to Christianity, but even before then, I kind of like weighed out most of the religions, and I kind of found like the other ones, dare I say, bullshit.
Yeah,
But
Christianity is also bullshit. Like 100%. There's no
out of
question
all
in my
of
mind.
them,
No, it doesn't.
out of
No,
all
no.
of them,
The
the
question isn't.
historical evidence
It sounds
doesn't.
like you're assuming that one of them has to be true. I think that's a false assumption. I don't think that's a justified assumption to make. We shouldn't just
Although,
assume that some religion must be true. We should say, is there a
yeah,
true
no.
religion?
You should be a skeptic, and that's what I am. That's why I come onto the live and I try to have a conversation
Well, can I
with
give
you
you an
instead of
argument?
telling me, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to give you each point, and then I'll just ask you if you agree with, I'll give you the first point, ask you agree with it. If you do, I'll move to the next one. If you don't, we'll discuss it. Sound good?
okay, no problem.
Okay. So my first point here is just that if change occurs, then time exists. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then because it's true that if change occurs, then time exists, then that means that if time doesn't exist, change can't occur, right?
I assume so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then because if time doesn't exist, change can't occur, that means that the sum total facts about reality doesn't change in a timeless state of existence. Does that make
Wait,
sense?
repeat that one more time. Repeat that one more time.
Yeah. So the sum total facts about reality, so that just means like every fact that is true about reality in a timeless existence can't change. Like there cannot be of all of the facts about a timeless state of reality, none of them can change. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because since change can't happen in a timeless state, then no fact about reality can change in a timeless state, is essentially what that's saying.
Yes.
However, if God created the universe, then he was in a timeless state of existence where at least one fact changed.
Why would you assume that?
Right, because so if God created the universe, then that means that God created time, space, and matter, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if God created time, then that means that prior to the universe coming into existence, there was no time, right?
years okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. So since God must be outside of time, then that means he lives in a timeless state of existence where change cannot happen. So that means that no facts about that state of existence could possibly change. But for that state of existence to go from just God and no universe to God and universe, that means that at least one fact in that state of existence had to change. But we already agreed that's not possible. So that means that God could not have created the universe because it would have entailed an impossible event happening. We've already agreed it would be impossible. So God did not create the universe. However, if God exists, then God did create the universe. Therefore, by the power of modus tollens, God does not exist.
But that would be on the pretext that God is limited, right?
No, it just is on the pretext that God is something that is coherent.
If right, let's say you said right, the universe and time, matter, space, and gravity were created in a flowing time state, and God is outside.
I didn't say anything like that.
Sorry, I'm just kind of paraphrasing right here. Right, we discussed that God is right. He's in that that frozen time thing, right?
Yeah, he's in a timeless state of existence. Yeah,
timeless state of existence, and we are in a time right. We're in the opposite of that. That would be.
Well, we're not talking about us. We don't have to talk about us at all. All we have to consider is the fact that because God exists in a timeless state of existence, no fact can change in that state of existence. So that means it wasn't possible for the fact that God exists without the universe to change to the fact that God exists with the universe. Because that change cannot happen, God cannot bring the universe into existence. If God can't bring the universe into existence, then God can't create the universe. If God didn't create the universe, then God doesn't exist.
That's outside of his characteristics, though. If he's
it's not outside of his characteristics, it's simply logic. Are you saying that logic doesn't apply to God?
Logic does.
Okay. Well, if logic applies to God, then you have to actually deal with the argument that I'm making instead of trying to run away from it.
Mm.
You've been really good faith up to this point, but I can tell that you know that this argument is a problem for your view, and so you're trying to run away from it. And I would appreciate if you didn't do that.
Argument. I'm not trying to run away. I'm not that type of person. I'm just trying to figure it out in my head right now. You know what I'm saying? Just like I said,
I've got it up on the screen.
I got you. I'm here with you. I'm not trying to.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Which of these? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yes.
If you agree with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then you agree that God doesn't exist.
If change occurs.
Yep, we went through all of these. If change occurs, then time exists. You agreed. And then we said that because that's true, then if time does not exist, then change does not occur. We both agreed. Then we said if that's true, then the sum total facts about reality is unchanging in a timeless state of existence, right? That just means that no facts about a timeless state of existence can change. We agreed to that. We also agreed that if God created the universe, then there must have been a change in the sum total of facts about reality in that timeless state of existence, right? And since that can't happen, and that would need to happen in order for God to create the universe, we can confidently conclude that God did not create the universe. However, we know that based on his very definition, if God exists, then God did create the universe. Therefore, God does not exist.
I'm not trying to sound weird here, but is it wrong for me to say that he could go in between? Like he could switch between both states or no?
That's not logically possible. That would mean that God is
Logically
contradictory and
possible.
therefore wouldn't exist. Because you would have to say that both God does not experience the passage of moments and God does experience the passage of moments. Only one of those can be true.
Okay. Like I said here, honestly, I'm very open-minded. I have a notebook right next to me. I'm currently just writing down everything. So,
Well,
yeah, I think
I'm streaming
this
this.
is something that's very thought-provoking, and I appreciate you. So,
Well, I'm streaming this to YouTube right now, so the video will be up. It's something that you could come back and watch another time. And then if you are doing that and you're looking into other arguments or evidence or anything, and you are thinking about this, if in a week or two you want to come back and have another conversation about it, I'd be happy to chat.
no problem. Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day. What a good faith young man. Okay. Oh. Yeah. So W for Dre. That was exactly the kind of conversations I want to have, and I hope that he comes back in a couple weeks or a month or two, and that he gives me a great, a stronger argument, and gives me a run for my money. All right. So if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, are you at least 18?
Mm-hmm.
What God do you believe in?
Just like beer theism.
I don't believe you, but okay. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Yeah, before I answer your question, are you familiar with epistemological realism?
Epistemological realism? No.
Yeah, it's just a belief that like you can conceive of these metaphysical truths through like sort of pure empiricism or just rational thought. Some sort of justification for these beliefs would be phenomenal conservatism, which is just saying that
Well, phenomenal conservatism is a joke. So, I mean, I'm definitely not going to take anything based on that seriously. Like, phenomenal conservatism is just cope the epistemology.
I mean, not really, since
yes, really.
It could be like a good justification to certain, just like viewpoints or any proposition.
Nope. Phenomenal conservatism doesn't provide any justification. It just assumes justification.
Wait, do you know what it is? Just for clarity.
Dude. Obviously, I know what phenomenal conservatism is. That's why I'm able to tell you immediately the problems with it, because it just assumes justification. It can never provide justification. All you can ever do with phenomenal conservatism is say something seems to be true, therefore I'm justified in believing that it is true. That's phenomenal conservatism.
Not necessarily.
Yep, that's what it is. If you don't think that's what phenomenal conservatism is, then you don't understand the view. You should read some Humer, since Humer is the one who coined the term and came up with the view, and you will find out if you read Humer, which I have, that that's what phenomenal conservatism is.
Yeah, I'm familiar with obviously, since I brought up the point. But,
yeah, sure. So what books have you read that discuss phenomenal conservatism?
Yeah, Understanding Philosophy by Michael Humer.
Well, that doesn't exist. That's not a book that exists. So obviously you didn't read that book. So what is an actual book that you read that discusses phenomenal conservatism?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Search it up. Understanding Epistemology by Michael
No,
Huemer.
you said Understanding Philosophy by Michael Huemer.
I said epistemology.
Yeah, well, that's also wrong. That's also not a book. The name of
Yes,
the
it
book that you're
is.
trying to say is Understanding Knowledge, and the reason that I know that is I've read it twice.
Yeah, epistemology is knowledge.
No,
by
it's
the way.
dude. The name of the book is Understanding Knowledge. You fucking moron! You're trying to pretend that you've read a book that you've never read because you don't even know the title
Yes,
of
sir.
the book.
Let's be good faith. Let's be good faith.
Let's
but,
be good faith. What the
I
fuck
mean,
are you talking
obviously-
about? You're trying to.
Obviously, yo, sir. Obviously, I said understanding epistemology.
No, you said
Epistemology
Understanding
can be-
Philosophy. You said Understanding Philosophy is the book that you read. That isn't a book that exists. Michael
no, I said
Huemer.
understanding epistemology.
No, you said Understanding Philosophy, and then when I told you
No,
that
I
doesn't
said
exist,
epistemology.
it's almost like you would understand if you let me talk. What you said when I asked you what book by Michael Huemer you read, you said Understanding Philosophy. I told you that no such book exists, and then you said, look it up. I read Understanding Epistemology. So you changed your answer to another non-existent book. Yes, Michael Huemer wrote a book called Understanding Knowledge. That's fine, but of course I don't believe that you've read it because you don't even know the name of the book. However,
I said understanding epistemology.
no,
Like,
that's what you
besides the
said
point.
after you said Understanding Philosophy. Your first answer was Understanding Philosophy.
No, I did not say that.
Okay, well then here's what we'll do. I'll pull up the fucking YouTube stream right now and we'll listen to it. Everybody can hear what your answer was.
Yeah, let's listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a second to get it pulled up here. We go to this bad boy, and then we go there. And then we bring up one of these, and then we bring up this. Fucking YouTube stream right now, and we'll listen to it. Man. That was me telling you what I was about to do. Okay. So we'll see what phenomenal conservatism is, then you don't understand the view. You should read some Huemer, since Huemer is the one who coined the term and came up with the view, and you will find out if you read Huemer, which I have, that that's what phenomenal conservatism is.
Yeah, I'm familiar with obviously since I brought up the point. but-
Yeah, sure. So what books have you read that discuss phenomenal conservatism?
Yeah, understanding philosophy.
Oh, weird. It's almost like you said exactly what I said you said, huh?
Yeah, let's hear it.
You just said it.
What do you mean I just said it?
Listen, just listen. That's phenomenal conservatism.
Not necessarily.
Yep, that's what it is. If you don't think that's what phenomenal conservatism is, then you don't understand the view. You should read some Huemer, since Huemer is the one who coined the term and came up with the view, and you will find out if you read Huemer, which I have, that that's what phenomenal conservatism is.
Yeah, I'm familiar with obviously since I brought up the point. but-
Yeah, sure. So what books have you read that discuss phenomenal conservatism?
Yeah, understanding philosophy by Michael. I'm waiting. I can't hear anything.
You don't hear it? Oh, everybody else can hear it.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay, well, I don't know why you couldn't hear it. Everybody else heard it. What you said was understanding philosophy. I just played it twice. Everyone in the chat, everyone in the chat, did I just play it? And did you hear that he said understanding philosophy? Yeah, everybody in the chat. Yep, they all heard it.
Obviously, even if I did say that, I corrected
Well, go look it up on YouTube, my guy. It's streaming right now.
yeah.
It's right
Even-
there.
even-
you said understanding
even if I
philosophy
did-
was the book that you
yes.
read. I pointed
Yeah,
out that
even if
doesn't
I did-
exist, and so you tried to save it by pretending you had read Understanding Epistemology, and then unfortunately, that is also not a book that exists.
Wait. By the way, when I'm also saying by Michael Huemer is a epistemologist, so obviously I'm going to be saying that obviously I meant epistemology if I said philosophy. But that's besides the point.
But Understanding
just go back to
Epistemology
the
is not
main-
a book that exists.
Yeah, let's just go to the substance. Understanding epistemology can be understood as knowledge, right?
No, that's not true. You don't
Yes,
think
it
that there's
is.
a
It's the
difference
study
between
of knowledge.
epistemology and knowledge?
It's
Yeah.
the study of knowledge.
So there's a
It's
difference
literally the
between
study of
knowledge and the
knowledge.
study of knowledge, right?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, but
Oh,
it can
so
be
there is a
understood
difference
as-
between knowledge and the study of
anyways.
knowledge, right?
What do you mean difference?
Is there a difference between knowledge and the study of knowledge?
I said obviously. there's
Is
gonna
there
be
a difference
differences, but I said
between
it can be?
this is
I said.
Okay, so this is a yes or no question, and that requires a yes or no answer. Is there a difference, yes or no, between knowledge and epistemology, or the study of knowledge?
I don't answer binary questions. I
Okay,
appeal to-
fair enough. Then you can fuck off. No problem. I mean, obviously not a serious interlocutor anyway. Yeah. All right. So if you are in the guest queue, let me take a note here. Phil, Bro, Larper, couldn't track his own statements. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Not only Christianity is mocked, Gingy, and I'm not really here to mock anybody. Not really. I mean, I will mock people that deserve it, but typically I'm just here to discuss rational positions, and there are no rational theistic positions. Thank you, everybody, so much for the support. Holy shit. Kind of odd. Thank you so much, Poopman Jones, Anto Zeus. Sincerely appreciate it. Angry Neeson. I don't know what this is. Food delivery driver. Oh, well, thank you also for being a food delivery driver. Lazy fat people like me need you. Bradley N, thank you. Ginger Ninja. Edna. Edna was supporting Alon. That's cool. I needed it. Midnight Zoomies, thank you so much. Poopman Jones. Lupine, love to see you here. Thank you. Nobody on Fire, same to you. Thank you so much. Beemore, Slice, Bear, Poopman Jones, John Mack. All the awesome people are here. Thank you so much. Everybody supporting. I appreciate it so much. But also, like, if you're not, Drew, thank you so much. Lupine, you fucking rule. Thank you everybody who is gifting, who's supporting. But even if you're not gifting, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the likes, the shares, the comments, all of it. Sincerely, thank you very much. So if you are, again, I already said this, but if you're in the guest queue, make sure you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would justify belief in a God. Hey, Obelisk. Good to have you. Hi, Steel. How old are you? Hello. My live contains themes that some may find uncomfortable. Bullying? I don't know who I harassed or bullied. Clearly, Steel is not here for a conversation, so we will move on. We'll move on to the next person who hasn't been begging in the comments. Hi, Ice. How old are you?
Hello. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm just fine. How old are you?
I am 19 years old.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
I do believe in a God, yes.
Fantastic. Which God do you believe in?
So here's the thing. I don't believe in any specific God. I believe in one true God, which we are extensions of a divine oneness. So not necessarily Christianity, not any kind of man-made religion, which is obviously fake. I believe that we are all part of the same consciousness, and we all are different branches of this one major form of consciousness made under the one God.
Okay, so do you believe in like a immaterial mind that is the personal ultimate foundation to reality?
Yes. Okay. The higher consciousness.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in that mind?
So I actually do have some scripture from the Bible.
Why in the fuck would we talk about that when you just got done saying how religion is man-made and you don't believe in any religion? Okay. Obviously, we should not be talking about the Bible unless you're a Christian.
Okay.
Are you a Christian who was just pretending not to be because you're embarrassed?
No.
Okay.
Jesus wasn't Christian, actually.
I never said Jesus was Christian. I asked if you're a Christian. Yeah. I need you to lock in and pay attention to what I'm saying, please.
Okay, so...
Are you a Christian?
I am not a Christian.
Okay, so then what I need you to say is that Jesus is no one's savior and he's never coming back.
Obviously not.
No, I need you to say it.
He is not anyone's savior.
No, I need you to actually say the sentence, Ice.
Dude, Jesus is not anyone's savior and he's not coming back. You know why? Because he is already here.
Okay, exactly. So you're a Christian who's trying to pretend you're not a Christian.
Okay.
So you're a Christian? Are you a Christian, Ice?
No, I am not a Christian.
Why would you say that Jesus is already here if you're not a Christian?
Okay. Could I explain it to you?
No, just answer the question.
Okay. Could you say the question again?
Why would you say Jesus is already here if you're not a Christian? That is obviously something that someone would only say if they believe in, Jesus' divinity, which would make them a
Okay.
Christian.
Okay. Can I tell you?
Just answer the fucking question, Ice. If you can't answer the question, then we can't have a conversation, and I'm just going to move on to the next person, and
No, I
hopefully that
don't
they're not
believe
as
you.
embarrassed by their own beliefs.
No, I'm telling you, I am not a Christian. I'm not embarrassed. I'm just trying to tell you something.
What do
Could
you
let me,
mean by
like,
Jesus is already here?
Okay. We are eternal beings. So the fact that when I say Jesus is already here, I say that Jesus is not here in the physical, but
Okay,
the fact
you're just trolling. I can hear the giggles and the smile in your voice because you're just trolling. Yeah, I could tell as well, QN. Okay, so yeah, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a god. So Ice, we put LARPer troll. All right. Yeah, I know. No one could ever have guessed that a Christian would lie. Hi, Jelly. How old are you?
I am 25. How are you?
Just fine. Do you believe in a god?
I believe in you, man. You are my god. I want to fuck you so bad.
I mean, I don't blame you, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to decline. So yeah, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a god. Troll who wants to fuck me. All right. Hey, Sober. Hi, user. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 22.
Okay. Do you believe in a god?
Yeah, I believe in a God.
Okay. Which god do you believe in?
I mean, I feel like that's kind of specific, but like the Christian God, I would say.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a god?
Just because of the dependencies that exist on Earth, I feel like creation wouldn't have happened without a dependency and the intricate nature of creation as well.
I'm not sure what your argument is. Can you help me understand?
Just like I don't feel like Earth would have willed itself here. Like if there was nothing.
Why does there have to be a will involved?
Because things don't just create out of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I think using the word create is what's tripping you up. If we just say that it came into existence without any will or guidance, then that is a perfectly rational.
But even in that argument, like things just don't come into existence without any will or creation.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that anything that exists must have had a will bringing it into existence?
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Does God exist?
Does God exist? Yes.
Oh, cool. So everything that exists must have had a will that brought it into existence. God exists. Therefore, God must have had a will that brought him into existence. If the God had a will that brought him into existence, then he's not ultimate. However, if God exists, then he is ultimate. Therefore, your view leads to the only rational conclusion that God doesn't exist. Congratulations, you disproved your own position.
I feel that, but maybe I misspoke by saying everything.
Yeah, because now you're just going to special plead, right? Now you're going to say everything except for God.
I mean, like, that's the only mystery that we have in our...
Yeah, no, it's not a mystery. It's just you are creating a mystery by being illogical.
Just to bring back to your 4 points, could you put that back up on the screen?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like the 4 thoughts, the line of thought that you had. Like it was like if there's creation, like that subscreen you had up.
You're talking about the argument that I gave to a different guest who was being good faith and deserved me treating him with good faith?
You wrote those up? Like,
what?
Just for that argument? Like, you wrote up those for just that argument?
What?
Did you write up those 5 lines just for that argument?
No. No, I didn't say that at all. I said that guest was being good faith, so I presented an argument. And I don't have any reason to bow to your demands to bring up an argument that I was discussing with somebody else. What I'm asking you for is the argument that would give us reason to believe in God. You tried to do so, but in doing so, you actually provided a reason to think that no gods exist.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I just don't think all of this came from nothing.
Yeah, and no atheist thinks, well, the vast majority of atheists don't think that this came from nothing. I certainly don't think that anything came from nothing. So what does that have to do with anything? Like, that's not one of the options on the table.
No, but where do you think this came from?
Like, you're supposed to be giving support for your position. Interrogating me about my position is irrelevant. Let's imagine I have no answer. Let's imagine I have no idea why anything exists or how anything came into existence. You should, if you're not an irrational idiot, you should have some kind of reason for your belief. You should have some justification for your belief. So, what is the justification for your belief? I cannot hear you if you're off the app.
Can you hear me?
No, I cannot. You're breaking up and now you're again off the app. I cannot hear you.
Okay, my final reason is just I feel like anything that exists needs a reason to exist beyond itself.
Yeah, so God exists, so God needs a reason to exist beyond himself. If there's a reason beyond God for God's existence, then God is not ultimate. If God exists, God is ultimate. So once again, by the power of modus tollens, your God does not exist. This is the second time in this one conversation where you have demonstrated that you are committed to the position that God cannot exist.
I don't know. I feel like this line of debate is kind of like, I wish we could take the conversation to a different place.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a lot better conversation if you actually had a reason to believe in God that didn't just bottom out in God's impossibility.
Okay, but your thing with God is that, like,
what?
Okay, but so I kind of need to understand your opinion though. Just
no, you don't.
Because, like, what do you believe is there? Like, how do you believe?
Doesn't matter. Whether what I do or don't believe has nothing to do with whether or not you have justification for your beliefs. And that's what we're discussing, is whether or not there's justification for your position. So it doesn't have anything to do with what I believe.
I do believe there's justification for a creator before the universe was, like, because even scientists can't tell us what was there before the universe. Like, what was there?
That's fine. If you're saying that there is no justification to have a belief about how the universe came into existence, then you shouldn't have a view on why the universe exists. You should not have a view on how the universe came into existence. Because it sounds like what you're saying is, nobody knows why the universe came into existence, therefore I'm going to tell you why the universe came into existence. Like, you don't get to draw a conclusion on the basis of no one has justification to draw a conclusion. That's ridiculous. If I said I don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl next year, and then the next thing I said is the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl, do you think that I'm in a good position to feel justified in my belief that the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl after I already acknowledged that no one could possibly know who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah. I see your point. I definitely see your point.
Okay, well, that's what you're doing. You're saying there's no way to know whether or not God exists, therefore God exists. That's ridiculous. That's insanely illogical.
Okay, but, like, there's obviously no way you know who's going to win the Super Bowl, but, like, with enough data, with enough chart, with enough.
Yeah, if I had evidence, if I had some kind of argument or evidence or data, right, that would support a conclusion about who's going to win the Super Bowl, then I wouldn't have said there's no way for anyone to know. Hold on, user.
Okay.
If I had that information, if I had that evidence, then I wouldn't have the position that there's no way for anyone to know. I would have the position there is a way for people to know. Here's the way to know, and based on that way to know, I think the Jets are going to win. If you were doing that, then we would be having a completely different conversation. You would be presenting evidence, and then I would be discussing whether or not that evidence is sufficient, or whether, if I have an issue with that evidence. But you haven't done that. All you've said so far is a first argument that concluded God doesn't exist, a second argument that concluded God doesn't exist, and then, well, there's no way to know, therefore God exists. So you haven't done the thing that you're saying that we would need to do to come to a conclusion.
Okay, but like then I have a problem with your conclusion of God is fictional. You're basically saying no one's gonna win this.
No, I'm saying that there are lots of good reasons to think that God cannot possibly
I
exist.
just feel like God is fiction is an inconclusive argument.
It's
So
not an
you
argument. It's not an argument. It's a conclusion, my guy.
but it's inconclusive.
It's not inconclusive. There is a
Just the
conclusion
same
right
way.
there.
Just
The
the same way.
conclusion
Just
is
the same way.
the
I'm
conclusion
saying
is
just the same
God
way.
is fiction. That's the conclusion. It's not
That's
inconclusive.
your conclusion, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
just the way that you believe my conclusion that there is a God is inconclusive. I feel like God is fiction is definitely inconclusive.
No, it's not inconclusive. That doesn't make any sense. There are arguments for the non-existence of God. So number one, there is no reason to believe that a God does exist. None of the arguments for God have ever succeeded ever in the history of humanity. So there is no actual positive case on the pro-God side. And then there are tons of arguments against God. Obviously, the typical conception of God, especially one associated with any of the religions, is absolutely incoherent, right? Like the idea that there is some kind of ultimate, foundation to reality that is apart from reality, or excuse me, apart from the universe and, created the universe. That's an incoherent notion, because the thing that brought the universe into existence would have to exist in a state of existence where the sum total facts about that state of existence couldn't change. However, bringing the universe into existence would constitute a change in the sum total facts about that state of existence where those sum total facts cannot change. So it would be a contradiction. You would have to commit yourself to the position both that the sum total facts about that state of existence cannot change and the sum total facts about that state of existence can change. That's a contradiction. Any view that entails a contradiction is false.
Do you believe in Einstein's block theory?
Are you talking about the B theory of time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like time exists in a specific block. Like time exists as well as the end and the beginning. Like it's all just a constant string of time and space and like everything that does exist, like exists.
A better way to describe it is just that all moments are equally real.
Okay, and do you believe in that?
Yes, I already said yes.
Okay, so like if you believe in that, and then do you believe in scale as well? Like just like how.
Okay, something happened. I thought we were finally going to get to some substance. That would have been fun. Contradicted himself. Disconnected as he was about to give an argument. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe his phone died. I have no idea. Yeah, that's my understanding as well, Sober. Because of the relativity of simultaneity, which is caused by time dilation, B theory has to be true. I never claimed to be smart. Let's be clear about that. I never claimed to be smart. All right, so if you are in the guest queue, hey, thank you, Visor. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining the guest queue, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Wanderings. How old are you?
51.
And I assume you're Christian?
Yeah, I'm a Christian. I just have a question. Do you ever debate people off your channel when you don't have a pacifier to mute?
Okay, so you don't actually want to engage in the topic?
No, because you're an infant. Why?
All right. So like I said, the only reason to come up is if you actually want to have the conversation. Obviously, that idiot didn't want to have the conversation. Just wanted to cry. Yeah, I mean, if your whole point, Wanderings, is that no one actually wants to discuss whether God exists, then, I mean, I don't know what you're doing at that point. Yes, Lupine. That's what we call projection. He's crying, and so he's saying that I'm crying. He doesn't like that I try to keep the conversations on track. I know that that's really annoying for Christians. They don't like it when they have to stay on track. Thank you for the support, Angry Neeson, Lupine, Goblin Brain. Is that what that is? Yeah, Goblin Brain. Drew, thank you so much. Sober. Ken Vorland, awesome to see you. Drew and Ken Vorland. I don't know if I've seen you guys as much. Hey, thank you so much for the hat. Yeah, QAnon, Lupine, looks like John Malik, Saintly, Drew, thank you so much, everybody. Poopman Jones, sincerely appreciate all the support. It does make a huge difference to me, so thank you. What in the fuck? Okay, so what we do when people are super weird is we just get rid of them. Fair enough. Okay, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Arel, or whatever your name is. Are you at least 18?
Yes, I'm 25.
Okay, do you believe in a God?
Actually, I am atheist, but I would like to defend the moral fact claim of theistic people.
Okay, well, I'm just doing debates. We're not doing LARPing, okay? So I appreciate you being here and supporting and whatnot, but I'm just doing debates with actual people who believe in God, so take care. Hi, Hush, how old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
Awesome. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
I mean, there's a lot of evidence. There's a bunch of evidence.
Yeah, pick your favorite one.
Well, to be honest, I've seen atheists try debunking God before, and it most likely never turned out.
Okay, so that doesn't answer the question. What's the argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God?
Okay, you see how NASA claimed that they went to space, right?
Okay, so you're a flat earther?
Not really. I'm not really into like the flat earth and stuff, but I seen a clip. There's like
okay, well, I'm not going to discuss conspiracy theories, so we'll just put it that way. Because conspiracy theories are not falsifiable. Well, actually, you know what? Here's the thing. I'll discuss this conspiracy theory if you tell me its falsifiability conditions.
Okay. Do you know what a firmament is, right?
Did you understand the question that I asked you, or the condition that I gave you?
Repeat yourself again.
I'm not going to discuss conspiracy theories unless you tell me what the falsification criteria is.
Well, basically, I could prove that he's real by...
Okay, so I'll give you one more opportunity. I'm not going to discuss the conspiracy theories unless you can provide the falsification criteria.
I don't know what that means, bro.
Okay,
to be honest, can you break it down to me for me?
Yeah, so you just would need to describe what exactly would need to be true in order to demonstrate that your position is wrong.
My position is wrong, as in... What is that supposed to mean? Like, as my position is wrong, like, what do you mean by that?
So you don't know how someone could prove your position wrong?
Well, basically, you're trying to prove that my position is wrong, or
no?
Sorry, is that what you're trying to do? I mean, I have some evidence. I could talk. I could let you know if you're trying to hear. That's only if you're trying to hear, bro. If you're not trying to hear, then it's okay, bro. I'm not going to force you on anything.
I'm begging for arguments and evidence. However, I'm not interested in talking about conspiracy theories with people who are closed-minded and won't actually consider anything other than their current view. So if you can discuss this without a conspiracy theory, we can discuss it.
I've seen an atheist person, right, that used to be very demonic.
I don't care about a specific individual. That's irrelevant to me. I don't care about your testimony. I don't care about your anecdotes. I care about the actual evidence that I can confirm.
This is evidence that I'm trying to tell you.
And how do I confirm that it's true?
This is based on truth, because it's based on true story.
So how do I confirm that the evidence in the story that you're telling is true?
It's coming from a person who used to be a Satanist.
How do I confirm that?
Because the person simply, why would somebody lie about God, bro? You understand?
People lie about God all the time. Why? How can I confirm that this story is true?
Because why would people make up false stories about God?
That's not a way that I can confirm it. How would I confirm that the story is true?
I've seen an atheist walk into
How could I confirm that the story is true?
Because there's evidence.
How can I confirm that the story is true? Just specifically.
If you look it up yourself, you will find it out.
How can I confirm that the story is true? This is the last time I'm asking. If you can't just tell me how to confirm the story is true, I'm going to assume that it's false and I'm going to move on.
I could pull evidence up, bro. I could show you exactly.
Obviously, I've been asking you for evidence this whole time.
Okay, how do I pull evidence? What do you want me to do?
I want you to provide the argument or evidence that would justify believing in a God.
Or you want me to explain it to you instead? Because I can't share it on here. I could explain it to you and tell you exactly what
If you are going to appeal to some story, then you have to be able to demonstrate that that story actually happened and all the details that you're referring to are accurate.
That's what I'm trying to do, bro.
No, you're not.
Just
You're
listen-
just trying to
just
tell the
listen to
story.
me.
I need, before you
listen.
tell the story, I need you to tell me how I can confirm that the story is true.
Oh, okay. Just look up the most powerful Satanist. There's this guy that used to be a Satanist.
How do I
And if you
confirm
listen-
that the story is true?
Look up a Satanist who turns into Christ, who converts
What's
into
his
Christ.
name?
I don't remember his name, but just look it up. You're gonna.
You don't
see
even
exactly
know
what
the
I'm talking
name
about.
of the person that is like that your argument is based on?
But it's true though. Yeah.
How do you
but
know that it's true if you don't even know who's in the story?
The guy? Yes, I just don't remember his name, but the guy.
Yeah, because this is bullshit.
It's no, because
This
I
is
just found that out.
obviously bullshit. So here's what's happening. So even if I look up this story and I see like, oh, somebody claims to have been a Satanist in the past and is now a Christian, there's no way that actually demonstrates anything. So imagine that I look it up and I see that you're relating a story that this person tells. How do I confirm that that person is telling the truth?
Because the story's always been the same. It's never changed.
It doesn't matter. Lots of people tell lies and then they stick to the same lie. That doesn't have
Why
anything
would-
to do with whether what he's saying is true. How do I confirm that what he's saying is true?
Okay, because it's obvious that.
It's obvious?
gotta-
Well, I'm just
Yeah,
going to
because-
say that there are no gods, and my evidence is that it's obvious. And since that's a sufficient standard of evidence for you, you should believe me, right?
Can I explain something to you?
You can
Real quick?
respond to what I just said.
I just wanna let you know something.
What
bro,
did I
because-
just say?
What did you? Repeat yourself. What you said, bro?
Okay. So are you actually going to pay attention when I talk moving forward, or are you
Yeah,
going
I'm
to
listening,
continue
I'm
ignoring me?
listening, bro. No, I'm listening.
Well, the fact that while I was asking that question, you interrupted in the middle of it doesn't give me a lot of hope that you're actually going to pay attention to what I'm saying.
Or I'm listening.
Okay. So it doesn't matter whether or not this guy changed his story. What matters to me is whether or not the story is true. So let's say that I look up this person and I find out that the story as you're relating it is the story as he tells it. How do I then confirm that his story is true?
He had basically a real interaction with the devil himself.
That's the claim. How do I confirm that that's true? That's a detail of the story that I'm trying to get you to tell me how I confirm
look-
that that detail is accurate.
Did you look the guy up? I told not his name, but just look up Satanist.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one more time, and if you can't give me an answer, I'm just going to move on. How would I confirm that this guy's story is true? That the things that he claims happened actually happened?
I mean, because he said it himself. I mean, he said
Okay, so what
himself.
you're saying is that anytime someone tells a story, the story they're telling must be true?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so here's what we're going to write down. We're going to write down what your argument is and how it works. So we're going to say, anytime someone tells a story, that story is true. What do we want to say here? So I have told stories about the universe being created by Eunice, the universe farting unicorn. So our conclusion is that the universe was created by Eunice, the universe farting unicorn. So, do you agree with me that the universe was created by Eunice, the universe farting unicorn?
But bro, there's literally proof.
Do you
outside of
agree
the
with
Bible.
me that the universe was created by Eunice, the universe farting unicorn? I can't hear you if you're off the app. Everybody runs away from Eunice.
Hold on, can you hear me? Yeah.
So
like I
do
was
you
saying.
agree with me that the universe was created by Eunice, the universe farting unicorn?
So what is your logic here, buddy?
So
You're
that
trying
was
to
my
say-
that was a yes or no question. Do you agree with me that the universe was created by Eunice, the universe farting unicorn?
No, bro. Do you want me to
Okay.
agree with you?
Well, you said that anytime someone tells a story, that story is true. And guess what? I even have the story here written down. Eunice, the universe farting unicorn, once ate a particularly spicy hypotenuse. When she farted, it created our universe. The hypotenuse she ate gave that fart logical and mathematical properties, and that's the grounding of math and logic in our universe. There's even more to the story after that. So obviously, because your position is that anytime someone tells a story, that story is true, then this story that I just told you about Eunice must be true, right?
But you gotta understand.
No, that's hey, stop. Don't run away. Don't run away to other nonsense. I need you to engage directly with what I said.
But you gotta understand, bro.
You gotta engage directly with what I just said.
Yeah, but bro, it's different. Your logic is different.
No, it's not about logic being different. Your position is that any story that anyone tells is automatically true just by virtue of them telling it. If that's true, then obviously my story about Eunice must be true. So if you disagree that my story about Eunice is true, then you must be rejecting your claim that every time someone tells a story, the story must be true.
Basically, you're telling people just randomly lying about God. So people just lie about God for fun. Basically, that's what you're telling me. So
was Muhammad telling the truth or lying when he said that God revealed the Quran to him?
I mean, I don't believe in Allah.
Was Muhammad telling the truth or lying when he said that God revealed the Quran to him?
I don't know anything about Muhammad, but
was Muhammad telling the truth when he said that God revealed the Quran to him?
He's a false god.
Was Muhammad telling the truth when he said God revealed the Quran to him?
I don't read the Quran.
Was Muhammad telling the truth? Yes or no?
I don't know anything about.
Was Muhammad telling the truth? Is the Quran the true word of God?
I don't know anything about this.
Is the Quran the true word of God? Yes or no?
No, it's not. The Bible is
fantastic.
The true word of God.
So since your position is that people never lie about God, and then you're saying that actually, in fact, a bunch of people have lied about God, like a bunch of people saying that they got revelation from God that you don't think that they actually got, well, that tells us that you don't actually believe the thing that you said.
But you got to understand.
So do people lie about God? Yes or no?
Yes, they're lying. But
so hold on. Stop. I just genuinely, only one word. That's all I need. Do people lie about God?
It depends. Yes, of course.
It's a yes or no question. Yes. If you answer with anything more than one word that's either yes or no, I'm just going to move on.
I said yes.
Do people lie about God?
Yes, it's possible.
Okay, fantastic. Yes. So people do lie about God. So then it's also possible that this guy you're talking about with the bullshit story about being a Satanist, he could be lying about God as well. So since we know that it is possible for people to lie about God, even people who believe in the Christian God, then we would need some kind of evidence to believe that a story about God is true in order to be justified in that belief. So you are saying that I should believe this guy's story about, his encounter with demons and whatever, blah, blah, blah. What's the evidence that his story is true?
Okay. You see how Allah, Muhammad, and Wallahi, all those other gods are in their tomb, right? But the only one in
truth. Okay, so you're not actually going to answer the question?
But you gotta understand.
So you're not going to answer the question?
What did you say? What did you say?
So once again, you weren't paying attention. Here's the options. Here's the options, Hush. You can either repeat back to me the question that I just asked you and then answer it, or I can move on to the next person.
Okay, bro. Why do you have to be so ignorant, bro?
Oh, I know. I'm the one that's so ignorant because I'm actually engaging with everything that you're saying, and then you're not engaging with anything that I'm saying. That definitely, you know what? I think that you're right. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run away, and hopefully everybody in the comments doesn't notice how terrified I was of Hush, and that I had to run away because I had no other recourse to get out of that. Unbelievable. Couldn't track to save his life. I know. I'm just, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. You all saw me just run away from that. Just such an impressive interlocutor. It was fun to talk about Eunice, though. Huh? We got to bring up Eunice. That was good times. I know. I didn't have the boots for that hike. Hush was too much for me. All right, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Earth. How old are you?
44.
Do you believe in a God?
I believe in God.
Okay, and which God do you believe in?
The one that occupies all space at the same time. And it's all-knowing.
Well, that's an ambiguous answer. Lots of people believe in that while having other contradictory beliefs, so that doesn't actually tell me what God you believe in. So I'll ask you one more time, what God do you believe in?
The one that occupies all space, that manifests in you and me.
Okay, well, I just told you that was an uninformative answer. I'll ask you one last time, and if you give anything other than a direct, unambiguous answer, I'm just going to move on. What God do you believe in?
Okay, let me ask you.
No, you're not asking me a question. You're answering my question first. What God do you believe in?
What is the premise of your God?
Okay, fair enough. If you can't take a position, we can't have a debate. My position is clear. Oh, I always do it backwards. God is fiction. It's a pretty clear position, right? God does not exist in reality. All right, so if you are in the guest queue, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Let me check something really quick here before I bring up the next person. Hi, how old are you?
I'm 39.
What God do you believe in?
I was just gonna say, I hope I never find out.
So you don't know what God you believe in?
All I can say is, I hope I never find out, because when I was a baby.
Okay. Yeah, that person came up on Thursday and also had nothing, so don't have the patience to do it again. Okay. All right. So if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Mark. How old are you?
18 plus.
How old are you?
18 plus.
How old are you? It's my last time asking.
29.
Do you believe in a God?
Yes.
Are you Christian?
Yes.
All right. What's the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Tag.
Okay. What formulation of tag are you running?
Okay, so premise 1, laws of logic are normative and necessary. Agree or disagree?
The laws of logic are normative and necessary?
Yeah.
Okay. How are you using the word normative?
They're not optional preferences. For example, like LOI, A says A equals A. It's not a preference. That's simply how it is.
So when you say normative, so typically in philosophy, when we use the word normative, we mean that it like provides reason for action. So are you saying that the laws of logic provide reason for action?
Yeah, I'll grant that definition.
Okay, and so what's the justification that the laws of logic provide reason for action on their own?
So basically what you're saying is you ought to reason according to them. So like
Yep. Where does that come from? How do the laws of logic entail that we ought use them for our reasoning?
It's axiomatic, like I just said. LOI says A equals A.
That's not an answer to my question. You're saying that the laws of logic are normative, and by normative we mean that, giving a reason for action. How do the laws of logic give a reason for action? And the action that you claim they give a reason for is to, utilize the laws of logic during the process of reasoning. But I'm asking, how do the laws of logic provide that normative reason?
Well, the action we're performing is to reason rationally, right? We ought to reason rationally.
Yep. And how do the laws of logic themselves provide a reason to do that. Also, I need you to do something about the echo or feedback or whatever. I'm hearing myself back like I'm talking to myself through a fucking tin can with a string.
Oh, my bad. I guess I'm not really understanding your question. I'm defining normative. I granted your definition, saying that the normative meaning as you ought to reason this way.
No,
But what's
normative
your
means that it gives something that is normative gives a reason for action. You're saying that the laws of logic give a reason for action, and the action you're saying that they give a reason for is to reason logically. But as far as I can tell, the laws of logic don't give us a reason to do that. They are simply a tool that we can use if we independently decide we have reason to do that. So you need to justify your claim that the laws of logic themselves entail a reason to use them.
In order to think rationally.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that you have to be committed to wanting to think rationally. How do the laws of logic commit us to wanting to think rationally?
That's where the necessary part comes in.
Nope, we're still on normativity. We're still on normativity. How do the laws of logic give us reason to reason logically?
It says that you ought to use them to think.
Yeah, what's the
logically.
argument for that? What's the argument? So your conclusion
If
for this
you-
so your conclusion
not
is
using-
we ought use the laws of logic for our reasoning processes. Okay, so what's the argument that ends in that conclusion?
What's the argument that ends in the conclusion of you ought to use the laws of logic to think rationally?
Yeah, so your conclusion that you're driving toward is we ought use the laws of logic for our reasoning processes. What's the argument that leads us to that conclusion? What's premise one?
The logic isn't just how we happen to think, it's the standard for correct thinking.
Okay, premise two.
Reasoning without logic or without adhering to the laws of logic would make you irrational.
Okay, premise three.
Irrational thinking leads to incoherent worldviews. I'm fine with those three premises.
Okay. Well, this is invalid. The conclusion doesn't follow, so I reject this argument. Do you want to try again, or do you want to concede the point?
So you say it's invalid, but what do you reject specifically?
The validity of the argument. The conclusion doesn't follow from the
So
premises.
you're not going to engage. You're just going to say...
I
the
am
validity of the
engaging.
argument?
I am
You're not
engaging.
engaging with
Yep.
any premise. You're just
I
saying
know.
this
I don't have
argument's
to.
invalid.
I'm engaging with the argument because the argument
you're
is invalid.
running.
No, I'm not running. Excuse me. I'm actually engaging with your argument because it is invalid. I don't need to reject a premise in order to reject the conclusion because the conclusion doesn't follow from the premises. If you want to prove me wrong and show me that the conclusion does in fact follow from the premises, that would be easy for you to do. All you would have to do is give me the inference rule. What's the inference rule?
This is a common pivot, guys. He's not engaging
Yeah.
with anything I said.
I know. Oh my God. I'm asking you to support your argument, and that's such a pivot. Oh my God, what a pivot for me to try to engage and have the conversation about the substance of your argument.
You just talked to like, I don't know, 10 plus people who didn't give one premise and engage with all of them. And you can't engage with one premise? It's sad.
So are you unable to support this argument?
Are you unable to engage?
I'm engaging by asking you to support the argument.
Did anybody you just talked to give premises? Did anybody you just talked to give a syllogism?
That's
and yet
irrelevant.
You still engaged, right?
That's irrelevant. I engaged with
Yet
what
you
they were
still
saying
engaged.
in the same way that I'm engaging with what you're saying. I would love for everyone to notice that what's happening right now is projection, because Mark knows that he's caught and is unable to support his argument, but he has too much ego to admit that that's what's happening. He's trying to pretend that I'm the one being bad faith by trying to actually have the substantive conversation so that you all don't notice that he's the one being bad faith because he refuses to actually engage in the substance. So now, Mark, if you want everyone to, if you don't want to completely destroy your ethos for everybody here, for the, you know, over 100 people that are watching, you could instead just engage with the substance of the conversation and provide the inference rule. And then you would show everybody that I'm just running away by pretending this argument is invalid when it is. So what's the inference rule? And then I won't have anywhere to run anymore.
What's the reason for it being invalid? Go ahead.
Yeah, because it doesn't follow. The inference doesn't follow. So
What
you could
doesn't
show me that I'm
follow?
wrong. You could show me that I'm wrong by providing the inference rule. This is
I don't
your
know what
argument.
you're talking about when you say it doesn't follow. What doesn't follow?
So
Please,
you
go ahead.
don't know what inference rules are? You don't know how inferences work?
No, what doesn't follow? Break it down to me in baby terms.
Okay, fair enough. So when Mark tried to use reason, it hurt
No,
Mark's
like,
head,
use-
right?
use, like,
Mark's
what
head.
I
Mark doesn't
said.
like when Mark's head hurts. So what Mark
When
needs
you
to do.
reply to me, use what I said, okay? Don't pivot.
Oh, don't pivot. You asked me to explain to you in baby terms how inferences work, right?
No, I didn't. I said, what's wrong? What is that thing
No.
you're talking about that is wrong?
Validity.
Like, what specifically of all those words that are right there that you wrote down, what specifically do you have a problem with? Go ahead.
The validity. Go ahead.
Lord have mercy on your soul, brother.
Oh, you're running away, Mark? Go ahead.
Oh, you're just a disingenuous interlocutor. You just talked to
Oh, I'm
like
so
10 plus people who didn't
disingenuous
give
because I
one
actually want you
syllogism.
to support your argument. How disingenuous of me to ask you to support the
didn't-
argument.
You just spoke
All right,
to 10
well,
plus people who
I don't
didn't
give
give
a
you
fuck how many.
syllogism.
I don't care who gives a syllogism or not. This isn't syllogism
Or you weren't
class.
worried about the validity of their arguments there.
Of course I was. How many of them did? Well, you can't smoke on stream, so get the fuck out of here. How many people, how many times with the previous guests did I point out the problems in their reasoning? Yeah, they didn't present syllogisms, they didn't present formal arguments, but that doesn't mean that I didn't engage with what they were saying in the exact same way I engaged with what he was saying. Unbelievable. That was pretty brutal, Mark. That was pretty brutal. That was rough. That was rough. Thanks, River. I appreciate you. You seem really cool. I just want to say that from like the little bit of seeing you in the comments here and there. So thank you for being here. Actually, that goes for so many people here. I really like sincerely appreciate that. Yes, Moon, you were actually one of the people that I was thinking of, Moon. But there's so many of those like awesome people here. 3 Pips, Sober, Mikey, Lupine. Fuck, I'm gonna forget people because I don't have a good memory. But Poopman Jones, Nobody on Fire. Fuck, man. Hey, thank you. As I said that, Nobody on Fire said that. That's awesome. Jay, yeah, absolutely. Again, I have a horrible memory, so I just set myself up for failure by starting to try to name people. I should have known not to fucking do that because, of course, I'm going to forget people because I'm a moron and I have a terrible memory. However, hey, thank you, JTK. That's fucking awesome. And hey, nobody's obligated to comment. Nobody's obligated to like. Nobody's obligated to share. Certainly nobody's obligated to gift. I appreciate... yeah, Poopman Jones is a tough name to forget. That's true. And then also the fact that there's like a person in here with the name Bradley Cooper, that's kind of tough to forget as well. And yet somehow I did, even though the Bradleys are both awesome. I remember the first time I heard like Justin say Poopman Jones, and I was like, well, that's a cool fucking name. Sober Space Guy. Hey, apparently, Sober, you reached like a watching the live milestone, so thank you. Okay. Well, I don't currently have any actual interlocutors requesting. So I guess I could glaze the comments more. I love you all, and I appreciate you immensely. Got wrecked by validity. Yeah. King Necro or Necro or whatever your name is. Yeah, that Tom person was requesting and then dropped before I could bring him up. So, all right. Yeah, like I said, don't currently have anybody up here. I did run an argument earlier that I haven't run in a while, and I kind of liked it. I think that it's a good one. There's a bunch of other ones that I have been running more often, but I think that this is a good one. If change occurs, time exists. From 1, if time does not exist, then change does not occur. It's just a contrapositive. From 2, the sum total facts about reality is unchanging in a timeless state of existence, which is just another more verbose way of saying the second premise. Then premise 4, if God created the universe, there was a change in the sum total facts about reality in a timeless state of existence. That's obviously true, because for God to create the universe, he would have to be in a timeless state of existence, because obviously if he created time, he isn't in time. So he's in a timeless state of existence, which means that it's not, and where the universe doesn't exist, because creating the universe would mean bringing the universe into existence. So that means prior to the universe coming into existence, aka being created, there was no universe. So that means that the sum total facts included that there was no universe, right? That there was God and no universe. And then the sum total facts about that state of existence changed to there's God and the universe. So that's what premise 4 means. So first conclusion, God did not create the universe. Obviously, that follows from the prior 4 premises. Premise 5, if God exists, God did create the universe. And so I think that second conclusion easily follows. And that's why I like saying, through the power of modus tollens, God does not exist. I decided that that's my catchphrase now, and I'm going to say it all the time. Yeah, Sober. It's essentially the same argument that people give all the time. And I don't remember where I got this. I don't know if I got this from like Ian or where I got this from. But I think it's a solid argument. Because yeah, obviously it's simply, one of the things that would have to be true in order for God to be the creator of the universe can't possibly be true. But yeah, I currently don't have any requests, at least not from any serious interlocutors. Was it? Yeah. So I'm hoping that some folks want to talk. Actually, what I should do is a reset. So I'm going to actually give it a reset here. So give me a little bit. Oh, I know you just shared at 3 pips. I'm sorry. I am going to reset the live, and I will be right back. Our free will is unexpected. I don't know that one, Sober. If you could post that in the Discord, that would be fucking fantastic. I would love that. I would love to read what you're talking about. There've also been some free will, like God's free will arguments that I've been seeing recently, and some of those are pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give the live a reset. I will be back. So to get to my Discord, all you have to do is go to tinyurl.com/OgarDebates. I don't know if this is like too low. I should put it like right over my face, maybe. I don't know where to put this. Like one of these kinds of things. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm stupid. Yeah, thanks, Sober. I would love to read it, formal or informal. I'm interested. And then what I'll probably do is formalize it because I'm anal like that. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to give it live a reset, and I will be back momentarily. Hold your horses. Now it's just me and you, YouTube. It's just us. All right. All right, we're back. We're so back. Yeah, the problem... Sorry, Obelisk. It's hard for me to watch everything. The problem with tag runners is that they don't actually understand anything about philosophy, right? Hey, J McHugh, you are indeed first. You are indeed. Whoa, hey, what happened? Poopman Jones, that came in while I was taking a drink and it didn't know where to go. But yeah, if you guys are able to, tap the screen, share the live, that kind of stuff, that would be awesome. Get people in here so we can hopefully get some folks requesting and have some good conversations. Hey, Daniel, glad to have you back. Thanks, Samuel. Ayakabina, thank you for the heart meme. I appreciate that. Eunice worship session, indeed. Lupine. These are fighting with each other now. Here we go. Lupine had posted some stuff in the Discord actually about Eunice. That's I don't know. I think it's fun. Yeah, I do want to just the issue that I have with people coming up to like talk arguments and stuff is every time I do that, then people act like that's what the live is, and then people don't want to request a debate. So I do want to kind of, unfortunately, I feel like an asshole, but I kind of just need to keep it specific to debate. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a douche. I do want to hear that argument. So if you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God, please feel free to request. I'd be happy to have the conversation. I need to do one of these. Oh, not one of those. I am very interested in that argument, though, Sober. Please don't get the impression that I'm not. I don't know that that's possible, Angry Anti-Theist. I think that he, necessarily cries, right? Like, I don't think that they, I don't think he has a way to not cry about me. Funny. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some folks requesting up that actually want to discuss whether or not there's justification to believe in a God. Oh, debate with Styx? I guess I wasn't aware of that. I'm not quite as plugged in as I'd like to be. If you guys are able to, do some tapping and some sharing, I'd appreciate it. Bring some people in and we can have some conversations. Guest box is open. Don't currently have anybody requesting though. So, if you want to tell me how I'm wrong and why I'm wrong and how wrong I am, please feel free to request. Well, the thing is, 3 Pips, Wandering's never got muted. He just came up here to cry, and I didn't entertain it because that's not what this live is. This isn't a place to, suck on your bottle. Yeah, exactly, Angry Anti-Theist. He never got that far. Was just crying. There's nothing else. Holy shit. I forgot how early I started tonight. I would disagree with you, John. I don't think that morality is a preference, and I also don't think that life is a waste of time. Yeah, I know, Bradley. I just realized it's not even 8 o'clock, and I've been live for like almost 2 hours already. But yeah, currently don't have anybody requesting. There's over 130 people in here. I gotta believe that there's at least one believer in God who isn't scared to stand up and defend their position. I'm just some idiot, I don't know shit. Listen to people like Theosophical Wanderings. He'll tell you how dumb I am. Thank you for the support immediately, Poopman Jones, Iacobina, Jay Lennox, and QAnon. I sincerely appreciate it. So next to the text box, there's a little icon with a pink and blue person, or pink person, blue person. And you just click on that. It'll bring up a thing where you can, it'll tell you like nobody's requesting, and then give you a request button, and you click that button. I need to create a little arrow thing that tells you where it is. All right. Well, we'll see if we can have a conversation. Hi, Butters. How old are you?
Hello?
Hi, Butters. How old are you?
Hi, I'm 28.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I do believe in a God.
All right. Which one?
So I believe that there is a God, but not bound by any specific religion.
Okay. You believe in like a personal ultimate foundation to reality?
Yes.
Okay. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us rational justification to believe in a God?
Yeah, I would go along the lines of the argument that complexity kind of deserves an answer, and that the complexity of the universe is something that couldn't just happen.
Okay. What do you mean when you say just happen?
Well, see, without a divine designer, right, a lot of the stuff that would have happened in the universe is so precise and so specific that, you know, if it was off by a little bit, half the stuff in the universe wouldn't be able to work.
So I was just asking for a
function properly.
definition of the term just happen. You said complexity of the universe couldn't just happen. What does just happen mean?
Yeah, so it couldn't have done it, I believe, without, well, by itself.
Okay.
Without
so there's
guidance.
There's two issues here. Number one, I just don't think I don't see that there's any like reason to accept this idea that like complex systems can't be naturally occurring. I don't think that makes any sense. And then the bigger problem here is that this argument is just going to implode on you or explode on you, right? Because if you're saying that you know, anything that is complex must have some kind of explanation for how it came into existence, well, obviously any kind of divine creator that is sophisticated enough to, you know, create and, you know, sustain the universe and make it so complex that it couldn't have happened on its own, well, something that complex is just going to fall into this exact principle, and we're going to then be forced to say that that thing deserves an answer as well. But if that thing deserves an answer in the sense that it must have had some explanation for what brought it into existence because it couldn't just happen on its own, well, then that means that that God you're talking about is no longer ultimate. You defined it as being ultimate, so now you've defined something to be a contradiction. Since contradictions don't exist, the God that you believe in doesn't exist.
Well, yeah, but what I guess I'm
okay, so
saying
you
is
agree.
that-
So you agree that the God that you believe in doesn't exist.
No, I am not. I am not agreeing with that. See, I don't need to explain God in order for God to be valid, whether he's
Is God
complex or not.
Is God complex?
I feel like that's not a
It's a yes or no
quite
question.
a straight answer.
Yes, it is. Either God is complex or God is not complex. Which is it?
I'm gonna say, well, and see, that's where I can't give the answer because I'm not quite sure how God operates. Therefore, I cannot explain whether he is simple or complex. The thing that makes something complex doesn't have to be more complex than the thing it makes. So
wait,
it could
okay. So
be-
what you're saying is that something that is super simple, that doesn't have any further explanation, could produce something complex without itself being complex?
Sure.
Oh,
that can
fantastic. So then there's
but
no
that
reason
can
why
happen.
there's no reason why we couldn't think that you know, unguided relatively simplistic laws of nature couldn't you know, just create complex systems like life and whatever, right? So if the idea here is that you're saying complex things require an explanation, but the explanation doesn't itself have to be complex or guided, then we can just say that all the complexity in the universe is a result of relatively simple natural laws.
Well, sure, but there's
okay.
different
So now
levels
there's no
of
need for a God. You've just agreed that your argument for God fails.
Well, yeah, but there's different.
Okay, so now that your argument for God fails, you need to give a different argument.
Well, no. What I am going with that argument is that there are different levels of complexity. I mean, there's, you know, let's say in nature.
No, we're not playing this game. We're not playing this game. So your first argument was complexity requires, you know, external guidance, And then obviously God is complex because God would have to be complex. So conclusion, God requires external guidance. If God requires external guidance, God is not ultimate. If God exists, God is ultimate. God does not exist. Okay, so that would be the rational conclusion from your first point. And now what you're saying is that complexity can arise from simple processes. The natural laws are simple processes. So complexity can arise from the laws of the universe. So I don't see any reason why, if we say that complexity has to come from some other complex thing, like God, then we would conclude that God doesn't exist. If we instead say that, well, actually complexity can simply arise from, underlying simple processes that don't themselves have an explanation, then we have no reason to think that anything more than the laws of nature are required to bring about complexity.
In simple terms, I think there are different levels. Like, I think that, if you look at something like nature, you can see that nature is complex. But if you look at something like technology, like a cell phone, that is so precise that there had to be a creator for it. So there's different levels of complexity.
I completely disagree. I mean, there's no way that we would say, like, are they complex in a different way? Yes. But in fact, the hallmark of design, the hallmark of intelligent guidance of a design process is simplicity. Think about the UI of Apple phones. They have one fucking button, and they do all the shit that you could possibly want to do on a phone. Well, basically all the stuff you could want to do on a phone with one button. That is the hallmark of intelligent design and a guided creation process. And what we wouldn't find under a guided creation process is stuff like, junk DNA that does nothing and has to, like, a ton of energy has to be wasted, in the process of copying and then throwing away a bunch of junk DNA that doesn't actually do anything. What we wouldn't expect from an unguided process is things like, animals that have lived in the ocean for millions of years still having, lungs that can only breathe air. Like, there's so many things that we would just definitely not expect if there was any intelligent guidance in the way that the, reality around us was created. So I think that all of that stuff is good evidence to think that there wasn't any intelligent guidance, because we know what intelligently guided creation processes produce, which is simplicity. So again, and if we're saying that something simple can create something more complex than itself, then I have no reason to think that there's a problem saying that relatively simple laws of nature produced vast complexity, especially when we take into account how long the universe has existed, how long the planet has existed.
I see your point. Sorry, I was just thinking of the angle I'm trying to take this at.
I would much rather you do that than just spew a bunch of nonsense.
No, and yeah, no, I get what you're saying there, and I guess I don't know how to counter argue that, because I can't say that God is simple or complex, but I do believe that just how stable everything is in the way it is, and how, let's say something like gravity, if it was like 0.5% more gravity, it would basically come down on itself, creating black holes.
But how do you know that it could have been different? So what you're saying is that it's set in such a way where if it had been it's set in such a way where that if it had been different, things wouldn't work the way that they are. Number one, like, why should we think that it matters that things work the way that they are? Like, if things had been different, then things would be different. I don't see a reason to think that would matter. Secondly, you're saying that, like, it seems like you're trying to imply that it's unlikely for gravity to be set at the value that it is. which means that it could have been a lot of other ways, so many other ways that it's unlikely for it to be the way that it is. But I don't know how in the world you could possibly demonstrate that. As far as I know, from listening to physicists talk about this, we have no idea if the laws of nature could have been different. But you would need to demonstrate that the laws of nature could have been different in order to say that it was unlikely for them to be this way. Because if they couldn't have been different, then, I mean, there's a 1 of 1 chance that the laws are the way that they are. I'm going to bring up my buddy Sober. He might be able to, he knows more about physics and stuff than me, so he might be able to either correct me or add a little bit more.
No. Everyone in the like physics community like agrees that there's a constant. Like we know this from like testing, obviously. But Fred Adams did a mathematical proof showing that actually the gravitational constant can vary and still allow for life and do all sorts of things and still allow for all these conservation of angular momentum. So like these things are still allowed. In fact, you can increase it like tenfold and decrease it by like 1 billion times. Like it's not as finely tuned as you think.
So I think that those are 2 really important points. Number 1, we have no reason to think that it's unlikely for it to be this way. Number 2, even if it is unlikely to be this way, most other ways that it seems that it could have been would still be fine.
Yeah, no, I guess there isn't a way to prove that it could have been any other way other than this pure speculation. So I understand that point of the argument.
Right, and then the other point that Sober brought up is that even if it had been different, the research that's been done into the research into this that has been done seems to indicate that it could have been different and we'd be fine. Well, not necessarily we'd be fine in the sense that you and I would exist exactly as we do right now. However, there's no reason to think, it doesn't seem to be a reason to think that, you know, like life couldn't have come into existence.
Yeah, like it's Fred Adams' paper, and his whole idea is that he wants to see if stars are still able to form and life is still able to find the capacity to like, you know, thrive. And he found that even when you keep all the other constants, such as like the nuclear forces, you know, stuff like that, electromagnetism, you keep all of that the same and just tweak gravity, it still allows it. All it does is move stuff either closer, it makes stars more compact. It doesn't really do as much as you would think.
Well, and so, like, wouldn't you think it'd be kind of funny that since those can work in that we would see other evidences of that in the universe, where there are places where gravity works different than let's say.
No, like everyone agrees that the gravity is constant, but you know what he's showing is that it could vary and it would still allow.
Yeah, we're not saying that we should expect gravity to work differently in different parts of the universe. As far as we can tell, the laws of nature like gravity are uniform. Now, obviously, you know, if we got evidence in the future that there's some kind of lack of uniformity, then we could adjust then. But as far as I can tell now, the best evidence we have says that it should be uniform across the universe. So we're not saying that we should. We're not positing a position that expects gravity to differ across the universe. We're saying that even if the universe, you know, like let's imagine that the gravitational constant was set at the Big Bang. I think that's unlikely, but let's say that that's what happened. Well, if the gravitational constant had been set to some vastly different value than the way that it ended up, we wouldn't have a reason to think that life couldn't have come into existence. It would just maybe be a little bit different, but there's no reason to think that it couldn't have happened.
And so there mathematically there could be an allowance. So wouldn't you think that it would be kind of interesting that if things were happening by at the end of the day almost pure chance, you know, as far as the universe is concerned, that we wouldn't see some sort of differentiation, like it differ throughout the universe rather than
you asking why is it this constant? Are you asking why is it this constant compared to the other ones?
Or are you asking why doesn't it vary across the universe?
Yeah, why doesn't it vary if the math shows that it could?
Because space-time doesn't vary.
Yeah, the math isn't showing that this is a misunderstanding that I tried to clear up for you, Butters. The math isn't saying the gravity could be different in the universe right now. The paper that that Sober is telling us about is simply saying that if the universe had come into existence with a different gravitational constant, this is what the result would be. Life could still happen. So we're not saying that we should expect the gravity to be different in different places. We're saying that if gravity in this universe had been different, it wouldn't have the outcome that you're suggesting that it would have.
Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, it's Fred C. Adams on the Not So Fine Tuned Universe. If that's the source, if you wanna.
Fred C. Items and Not So Fine Tune of the Universe. Okay, I'll have to take a look into that too.
Also, I just want to point out that, like, especially if we're talking about a triomni god, all good, all knowing, all powerful, or even if we talk about a dual omni god that's all knowing and all powerful, I don't think that fine tuning could be evidence for that god. So you would have to be positing like a limited god.
Which, yeah, I guess that's where the definition of God comes up too.
Right. So
Is,
then what you have to do is you have to
yeah.
justify whatever limitations you put on God. Right. So if you're saying like, well, God isn't all powerful, he's not even maximally powerful, he just has some arbitrarily limited degree of power. Well, you would have to provide some explanation for why God has that exact limit of power and not some other limit of power. And you would have to also provide some justification for how you determined that God had that specific power limit and not some other one. And so what it sounds like is in order for the fine-tuning argument to get off the ground, you would first have to prove which God exists and what his attributes are.
Yeah, which would then be more research into the physiological stuff.
Yeah, it just sounds like you need to. It just sounds like you need to prove God before fine tuning gets us anywhere. And if the fine tuning argument is supposed to be the evidence for God, then it just sounds like it's useless, right? Because like if this argument that is supposed to provide evidence for a conclusion doesn't work unless the conclusion has already been demonstrated, then what's the point of the argument?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I will have to kind of get some more of the thoughts together and points together and probably come back here. Because. Oh, yeah, continue.
I thought you were done. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
No, yeah. Yep. So I just think I just need to come back because I do think the fine tuning is, but it's seemingly getting into a loop here. And so I need to figure out how to go about it.
Okay. I think that that's a fair response. And as I tell everybody that is intellectually honest enough to give that type of response, my sincere hope is that you spend some time, a couple weeks, month, two, whatever, thinking about this, researching it, finding some different arguments or different ways to support your argument. And I hope that you, after doing that, come back and give me a run for my money.
And Mister, if I may jump in, that argument, what it shows, what I'm telling you is that this gravitational constant could vary, but it doesn't say that our exact form of life would be the same. You know what I mean? Like it very well could be different. So that could be something you argue for.
Yeah, that is true too.
Yeah, I think then you end up in the position where you have to demonstrate that not only do you have to demonstrate that your God wanted life, but you'd have to demonstrate that your God wanted life exactly as it is. And so again, I think we end up back in the same position where in order for your fine-tuning argument to get off the ground, you first have to demonstrate not only that a God exists, but exactly what the attributes of that God are. And so then again, I think that the fine-tuning argument isn't doing anything if it's supposed to be an argument that demonstrates or that provides evidence to believe in God, but it can't work until you've already demonstrated that God exists. So but hey, maybe you'll think about it, maybe you'll find something and you'll come back and show me why I'm completely wrong.
Maybe. We'll see.
Hey, I love learning, so I hope you do. But I appreciate the conversation, Mr. Butters.
Yeah, thanks.
I love good faith interlocutors, and I also appreciate you coming up to help, man. Oh, you're on mute. Yeah, I appreciate you providing the assist there. I don't know all the physics stuff.
Sorry, what'd you say? I just got back.
Oh, no problem. I just was saying I appreciate good faith interlocutors like that, and I also appreciate you coming up for the helping me out because I don't know all the physics stuff. I have been reading lots of philosophy papers, but I have yet to read a physics paper.
Yeah. If anyone in the comments, if you want to make an argument, appeal to like electromagnetism or like strong nuclear force. That's something that can't vary that much compared to like gravity. Gravity has a lot of leeway.
Fair enough. Well, thanks for that help, man, and I appreciate your willingness to jump up when I need you.
Oh yeah, I need to go work on that argument to send it. So
yeah, shoot it over to me. I definitely want to read that, please.
Okay, drop me for algorithm.
All right, see ya. Fair enough. Okay, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus, that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God, and that you're not begging in the comments. Actually, I don't know if I can even honor that.
Yo, hello?
How old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay, what God do you believe in?
I'm a Thomist.
Okay, and what's the argument that I should engage with a LARPer?
Oh, no, my name's just a joke.
What's the argument I should engage with a LARPer?
My name is a joke.
So you don't have one?
No, I have an argument for God.
Mm-hmm. What's the argument?
All right. The argument for God is going to be premise 1: any phenomenological manifold presenting
Can't
as
type that
spiritual-
fast. Also,
that's fine.
here's what you're going to have to do, because this does sound like you're LARPing. In order to demonstrate that you're not LARPing and that your name really is just a joke, and show everybody that you actually understand the argument that you're giving, I need you to give it only using like normal words that a person who's never read a philosophy paper would know. If you can't do that, then you don't actually understand the argument and shouldn't be giving it.
Well, I mean, if you want, I can give you the argument and then explain the words.
Nope. No, we're not doing that. That's like me telling you that I'm going to read off, all the words in a German dictionary and give you all the definitions at the top of the conversation. And then I'm just going to speak German the rest of the conversation, and it's your fault if you can't track. That would be ridiculous. Obviously, that would be a dumb thing to do. So we're not going to do that. Neither of us gets to do that. So if you want to have the conversation, you want to present this argument, you present it in normal, everyday English language that nobody would ever have to take a philosophy class to know. If you're not capable of translating your argument into that language, that means that you don't actually understand the argument.
Wait, what's the argument for that?
So you're a LARPer.
How does that follow? I don't think that's
so you're a LARPer. Okay, fair enough. So here's your options. You either give the argument under the parameters that I've laid out, or you're a LARPer and you concede.
Yeah, well, the parameters you gave out was it has to be normal everyday language.
Yep.
Well, you didn't give a criterion for this, because what you would consider everyday normal language would be something that I would consider.
I did give criterion. I said that you can't use any words that someone would have had to, research philosophy to know. If you use words, like doxastic or phenomenological or whatever, all this other stuff that nobody is ever going to use in a normal conversation unless they're into philosophy, then that's the type of stuff I'm saying that I'm not going to allow. So if you need to use those words, the only reason that you would need to use those words is that those were the words in the argument when you got it from your, philosophy LARPing daddy, and you don't actually understand the argument. So all you're going to do is just run some dialogue tree. In order to show that you're not LARPing and that you're not just working off a dialogue tree, give the argument in normal everyday language. This is the last time I'm laying it out. So now the two ways that we move forward is either the next thing out of your mouth is the argument in normal everyday language, or the next thing out of your mouth will be construed as a concession.
I reject these conditions, but sure, I'll give it some.
No, that was a concession. No, I'm not doing... I said the next thing out of your mouth is the argument or a concession, so wanting to whine about the condition is a concession. I'm not playing Philbro games. I have no fucking patience for Philbro games. All right. So if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. All right. High schedule 1, how old are you?
I'm 18 plus. Do I have to say my exact age?
How old are you?
19.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
Christian.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
I really feel like his robe that he wore, like
robe. Are you
Like,
trying to talk
I
about
don't
the
know how
Rag
to
of Turin?
explain. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a forgery that was made with red ochre in the 1300s or whatever. So obviously that's not evidence of anything. You have anything else?
Did you believe in God at any point in your life?
Okay, so you don't have any argument or evidence?
I just gotta say, you dumb as shit if you don't believe in God, nigga. Look at you, your ugly ass, gang. I see why you don't believe in God.
Hey,
You ugly
if
as
God
shit.
is all good,
I
why
see
did he
why
make
you
me
don't
so
believe in God.
ugly?
You ugly as shit.
If God's all
Look
good,
at
why
you.
did he make
Look
me
at
so
you.
ugly?
You ugly as shit, though. I see why you don't believe
If
in
God's
God.
all
ugly
good, why
ass
did he
nigga.
make me so
But
ugly?
you're ugly as shit, though.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
see why you don't believe in
If
God.
if God exists,
He
why did he
probably
make me
wasn't
so
very
ugly?
nice to you. Look at
Huh?
you, dumbass.
What's the answer?
Look
If
at
God
you.
exists, why did he make me so ugly and
Nigga,
stupid?
get a new camera, yo
Huh?
broke ass.
If God
You look
exists,
like
why
a
did he make me
dumbass
so
right
ugly
now,
and stupid?
dumbass.
Huh?
God doesn't.
Is that all you've got?
You probably don't
This
believe
is
in
the
God
best
because
you've
look
got
at
for your
you.
God?
You
You can't
ugly as
actually.
shit, man. That's why you don't believe in God. Look
First
at
Peter
you.
3:15, my guy. Yeah, had to remove him. TikTok made me remove him. Consumes themes, blah blah blah. Oh, I kept him up too long, and now my live is restricted. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with my connection. It's acting like it's really slow, but like, it doesn't seem like anything. Like, I don't know what's going on with it. Okay, so if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Soul. How old are you?
19 plus 19, but
Okay,
and I'm Christian, and my argument is you a bitch ass nigga, and God is real. Fuck you, nigga. Don't be.
Yeah, and that's the best that they've got. Notice? You know, everybody bitches about the way that I run my live, but how often do I do that? Right? I've never done that. Even when I get mad at people, which has definitely happened before, I don't ever do that. I'll point out that people are being stupid, but I definitely don't do that. But I'm the worst. All right, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Living. How old are you?
How you doing? I'm 45.
Okay, I assume that you're Christian.
Yes. You call me Joe.
Okay.
Yes. So I see your banner. You would have to prove that Jesus never existed in order for this to be true.
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
Do you believe that Joseph Smith actually existed?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Okay. Do you believe that the Mormon Church is the one true Church of God?
No, I would not say.
Okay, so it sounds like you agree with me that someone could exist in reality while the spiritual or supernatural or religious claims associated with them are still false, right?
Well, yes.
Okay, so if it's your position that someone can exist in reality and the religious claims associated with them are still false, then obviously there's no reason for us to think that if Jesus exists, then the religious claims associated with him must be true. Because it could also be the case.
No, it's because
So it could also be the case that Jesus existed and was a real person, but the claims about him are just like the Mormon claims and they're false.
No, because there's many people that even believe themselves to be God. It doesn't mean that everyone else is going to believe that's true because that they claim
that's my point.
that they're God.
That's my point.
There's only one God, and the evidence that only proves it is that Jesus lived and he died and resurrected. That even
no, you said that if Jesus lived, you said that if Jesus lived
to be true.
You said if Jesus lived and was a real person, then that means that all the claims about him must be true. But then you said that you also think that someone being a real person doesn't guarantee that the supernatural claims about them are true. So you've contradicted yourself. Either it's the case Jesus living for Jesus living. You got to stop. You got to calm down.
Go ahead.
So either Okay, you have two options. We'll put it up on the notepad here. Either A is true, where if a person lived, then all supernatural claims with them, or excuse me, associated with them are true, or Mormonism is false. So you can
Let
only
me give you an example.
you
So
can
you
only pick
understand.
one of these two. So of these
No, it
two, which
doesn't
one
make
are
any
you
sense
picking?
what you're saying.
Nope,
It's
you can
irrational.
only pick one of these two.
Listen, I believe that you had a mother, right?
So do you pick A or B? Which of
If
these
I
is
said
true?
your mother had
So
red hair, would that
okay,
be true?
you need to stop. So you can either pick A or you can pick B. If you don't pick A or B, then that's a concession because you know you've lost this debate.
No, you're logical. It's
Okay,
not
fair enough. I appreciate the concession. Yeah, I do not have the patience. You know, something that I've noticed is that, like, the color of the wall behind me is the exact same really milky, creamy color as my head, and I don't really like that. Thanks, Neil the hippie. Yeah, thanks, Greenball. This shirt fucking rules. I love this one. Yeah, I'm not gonna deal with people who refuse to engage. If you can't engage, then there's no point in talking to you, right? Because there's no conversation to be had. The whole point of trying to bring people up is to have a conversation. Have I read Aquinas? No, I have not read Aquinas. A consult, Lupine? I don't know what you're talking about. On like fixing my streaming setup? Yeah, obviously I need help with that. Anybody could tell you that. Should I get one of those like green screen things? Just a beard and eyebrows? Yeah, I'd take any help I can get. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know shit about shit. Yeah, no, I did notice that I'm like blending into the wall behind me. Hey, Tree, good to see ya. Do I know why people think God is real? Because they're irrational. That's why. How was my weekend? So, I would totally take you up on that, Lupine. I would be happy to do that. I had a decent weekend. I played a show with my band on, what was that, last night? Jesus Christ, I can't even remember when it was. It was last night. We played some new songs that at practice I had never successfully played all the way through, and we were like, fuck it, we'll just try it and see how it goes. And we played them all. It was awesome. My only concern about sharing details about my band is that as soon as I like put it out there, that's like fully doxing myself. You know what I mean? Because like obviously you're going to look up the band, and then you know you have all of my personal information, and I'm trying to avoid for as long as I can my job getting brought into all this. I don't really want to have that conversation with the CEO of the company I work for, because I imagine that's what would happen. Maybe I wouldn't have to talk to him, but seems likely. Ogar and the Oddities, that sounds like a great band name. Yeah, I don't blame you, Ginger Ninja. And Greenball, that sounds like pretty shitty. But yeah, I mean, like if I didn't have a job that I would be worried about, you know, the people harassing my job, or you know, getting my contact information through that and harassing me, it wouldn't bother me as much. But I'm not really super stoked on that. But yeah, currently don't have anybody requesting. Yeah, I would love to, you know, have the conversations. Doesn't seem like anybody actually wants to talk. Do we give it like, um, oh yeah, Lupine, that sounds cool. This fucking TikTok studio interface is horrible. But yeah, I know you're still there living for Jesus. I can see you, but there's no reason to talk to you. You've demonstrated that you're not capable of having a reasonable conversation. Well, theoretically, I could use OBS, Lupine, but I don't know enough about it. Argument for God that gave me the most pause and made me think the most. I would say anytime anytime Catholic thinker is really confident in an argument, it's probably going to take me a lot to deal with it. That seems to be the case. Yeah, Pascal's wager. So such a hard one to deal with. Yeah, that would be awesome, Lupine. Hit me up and well, I mean, we talk on Discord, so yeah, that would be awesome to figure out a time. I would be more than happy to get some assistance with that. But yeah, currently, do you care more about there being a creator or an afterlife? I just care about my beliefs being true, J Farbs. So yeah, if you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence for God, I'd be happy to talk. I don't think that anybody does. You know, I'm just being honest. Pop-Tarts are social strudels. That's tough. So if I'm actually going to toast them, then toaster strudels. But if I just want something quick that I'm not going to toast it, then definitely Pop-Tarts. All right. So, yeah, like I said, don't have anybody requesting. I don't know if I want to do like another reset. I'm kind of curious. Oh, I know what I can do. Slow mails. I have no idea. Maybe it's just that there are too many other atheists who are currently live, and people are going to those streams to chat, to have the debates. All you have to do if you want to join is next to the text box there will be an icon of like two people, like a blue and pink person. You click on that, and then you click on the request button. Click up. Yeah, I knew that's exactly what was going to happen. All-time favorite fast food restaurant. I have some really fast food, man. That's brutal. Oh, that's cool as fuck, Bradley. I'm glad that I can like provide a soundtrack for your gaming. I think my favorite fast food, depending on what we mean by fast food, I assume we mean places like, Wendy's, McDonald's, whatever. I'm probably going to go Burger King. But I think my favorite thing that I basically consider fast food, even though it doesn't like have a drive, I kind of think fast food has a drive-through. Right? If you don't have a drive-through, you're probably not fast food. But I absolutely love Qdoba. Like, Qdoba is so fucking good. Oh, fantastic. But it does seem something that I have actually noticed is if I go live for more than 2 hours, like people stop requesting. So like pretty much as soon as I get to like 2 hours, then like people just like it just dies. And even with a reset, it seems like it's dead. I don't know. But typically I would only be like half an hour in right now. Of course, I'm 2.5 hours in instead of just half an hour. But it just is weird that because I've been live longer, it seems like I'm not getting people actually wanting to engage and have the conversation. So I'm not really sure what to do with that. Hey, good to see you too, Skoke, as always. Unfortunately, nothing too much happening here right now. We don't have anybody requesting. I already did a reset earlier. I don't know. I guess I could do another reset. I'm too brutal for them. Yeah. I know that theists don't really like talking to people that actually make them stay on topic, right? Theists don't like it when they have to actually defend their position. That's the biggest thing that the one thing that a theist will never do is actually defend their position. Because as soon as you get them to actually defend their position and show any problem with it, they run away. Oh, I'm with you, Ginger Ninja. That's why I know everybody thinks I'm an asshole, and that's fine. And like, I've thought about like, now obviously Lobes is cool as fuck, and Lobes has kind of been there like supporting me and doing everything he can to help me out pretty much since I started. Otherwise, like, I don't really have other like atheist debate streamers like reaching out to me. Like, I see so many atheist debate streamers collaborating and interacting with each other. I don't ever get those kinds of opportunities. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm supposed to be reaching out. Maybe this is my fault, but I have been thinking about it, and like, I think that there's a reasonable it's reasonable to think that it's possible that other atheist debaters don't want to deal with me or don't want to interact with me or collaborate with me because of the tone that I take. And I wouldn't blame them for that, right? But I cannot handle the preambles and all that either. Rebecca, if you want to... Oh, I thought you were asking how to join. Okay, my mistake. Yeah, you could request up, and I'd be happy to have the conversation. Just looking for folks who are 18 plus, preferably with some kind of argument or evidence for God. If you want me to present my position, as long as you're good faith, I can do that. Oh, I'm with you 100% on that, Greenball. I just mean, like, there are things like the bigger debaters will have a newer debater come on their stream to kind of like, build up their following or that kind of thing, right? Like I've seen people do that quite a bit. Yeah, Lupine, definitely not here for faith stories and Bible study. We're here for actual evidence. So I made a thing, and maybe I will I just posted a video today with it, and I think it's kind of cool. I made a little like, and you guys are going to be like, this is fucking stupid. What the fuck are you talking about, Ogar? And that's fine too. Am I smart enough to bring up this? Oh, thanks, Visor. Good to have you back. But yeah, I currently don't have anybody requesting, which is a little bit frustrating. Now, I am no graphic designer, but I made this today to like put on my stuff. And this is like, I feel like, my kind of my mantra. I don't know about mantra, but like, oh, that's cool, Visor. Hopefully it works for you. Thank you, Tree, because I sometimes feel like that's a problem, is that I'm not that like, but here's the thing, like I will kind of do that sometimes, right? But yeah, that's definitely not like my goal. Now, obviously, if somebody comes up, is good faith, and is really struggling, I will do my best to help them and work with them, and try to like help them understand the issues that I see in their view. But yeah, I'm definitely not here to like, I want to have the conversations. I want to have the debates. Like, that is the point of me doing this. Well, I appreciate you, Poop Man Jones. And yeah, I mean, that's my whole thing is like, I don't want to deal with the bullshit, right? I don't want to deal with, like Ginger pointed out, the preambles. I don't want to deal with, I don't need your life story. I don't need to know about like, like you guys don't, like nobody wants to hear my life story every time I have a debate. If every single debate was just me talking about how I deconstructed or like problems that I've had, like, I don't know. Well, I think that's, see, a lot of people want that when they deconstruct, you know, what you're talking about, Tree, the emotion, feeling kind of thing, because that's what religion provides. And so I think a lot of times it's hard to, you know, go away from religion when you don't think you're going to have that anymore, because it feels good to have that. I think that's a good way to put it, Midnight Zoomies. I'm just not going to coddle people. I think there was a question about what my name stands for. My name doesn't stand for anything. It just is a nickname. Funny enough, it's a nickname I gave myself 20 years ago. And then, like, that's just what my friends have called me for the last 20 years. I made it up as a stage name, so I didn't have to put my real name online. I'm stealing that, Tree, for sure. The reason I stopped believing in God is because there's no reason to believe in God. The reason I think God is fiction is because there are good reasons to think that God doesn't exist at all. Yeah, I get that too, Lupine, definitely. Like, going from only getting purpose from, like, the community or from the book. Oh, good reason. That's so... holy shit, Poop Man Jones. That is so fucking funny. And I am 100% writing that down right now. Oh my god, that is hilarious. That is fucking hilarious. Oh my god, I love that. Now I'm mad that I made this fucking thing today. Because I should have put that. Oh, good, a reason. That's so fucking funny. Oh my god, I love that. Okay, so that is hilarious. Although I did decide that I was thinking today about when I was making that thing, I was like, oh, do I have like a catchphrase or anything? And that's something that I do say quite a bit, and it's even been called out in the comments before, is I like the phrase, by the power of Modus Tollens, God doesn't exist. If I ever do like merch or something like that, that would definitely be a shirt that I would make. I was talking to somebody about that recently. Oh shit, I was actually thinking about maybe just like calling it because I'm not getting anybody. But maybe we get to have a conversation. So we'll see. Hi, Sarah. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes.
Okay. What God do you believe in?
Just like the standard, like, theistic God.
Okay. Like a personal ultimate foundation to reality?
Sure, like in a sense, but I think proving God exists is just proving whether or not there's a reference, which is not relevant to sense.
I don't know what you mean.
Are you familiar with like sense and reference?
I mean, I'm familiar with the idea of reference, but I don't know what you're talking about right now. No.
Well, it's just like a linguistic theory that Frege posited, just that a reference just denotes an actual object in the domain, right? An actual object here just means that there is an object in reality in the domain, right? And there exists such expressions with no reference, right? Like there exists a unicorn, for example, right? That has no reference, but there's obviously a sense or just the content of how we understand it. And I think the arguments, or not arguments, rather the discussion of whether or not God exists is about whether or not there's a reference of God and not about just your understanding of God.
Okay, so as far as I can tell, just saying that there is a referent for a concept is to say that that thing exists in reality, but I don't see how that's trivial because that's my question. Does God exist in reality? And how, if so, how can we confirm that to be the case?
Well, you're just asking me like specifics about the God. I was just saying like that's not really relevant.
What?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're asking me.
yes, it is, because that determines whether or not something counts as a referent to the concept. Because if the concept is referring to something that is not a personal ultimate foundation to reality, then when we find a personal, ultimate foundation to reality, then the concept, then it's not a referent of that thing. But that's the thing that I'm interested in. So I want to know if, when you use the word God, you're referring to a personal ultimate foundation to reality. Because if not, then I'm not interested in the conversation.
Well, what determines reference?
So when you say you believe in a God, are you talking about a personal ultimate foundation to reality?
Yeah, I'm talking about like the predicate God, and I'm saying there's an existential quantifier next to that predicate.
God is a predicate, not a subject?
You realize there can be predicates that are subjects as well? Have you ever read a book on logic?
So you're saying God is a predicate? God is a property?
Yeah. No, not all predicates are properties. That's a big blunder.
I don't know why you think anything is a blunder. I'm not here claiming to be philosophically educated. I'm not here claiming to be anything. I'm simply trying to have conversations. And if you're just up here to try to like spew words that you learned in, your philosophy 101 class and try to act like it's a win because you're talking to somebody that doesn't pretend to be philosophically educated and you were more philosophically educated than them, then cool, have the win, I guess. If you want to actually engage in the substance and actually have a conversation, that's what I'm here for.
Right. Well, not all predicates are properties. So the answer to your question is no, God is not a property. But just the word God is a predicate. Obviously, anything is a predicate.
I guess that's never been my understanding of predicate.
Well, if you'd want like a formalized argument for God, then I can just give it. But it's going to be...
But again, I need you to clarify what you're talking about when you say God.
Well, I just did. I'm saying when I say God exists, right? When we say anything exists, we're just saying that there's an existential quantifier.
Sierra, I'm going to give you one more opportunity. You can either give me a direct answer to the question that I'm asking you, or I will know that you're not a serious interlocutor. So what are you referring to when you say God? What would the referent have to be for it to be true that God exists?
The referent is the object in the domain.
Okay, so you don't want to give a serious, unambiguous answer that I can engage with?
I'm using your words in a literal meaning. If you don't understand reference, then I can just tell you, but you're talking about sense clearly, not reference. You're talking about how we understand God.
So I'm going to give you one more opportunity without using any words that you would need to, have philosophy education to understand. Just answer the fucking question. What do you mean when you say God?
What does that even mean?
What do you mean when you say God? Last opportunity. Anything other than giving the definition is a concession.
The definition of God? Like the word God? Is that what you're asking me?
I just was very, very clear on what I'm asking. If you're not able to track, that's on you.
Yeah, we can just say like in the domain, the definition of God is a maximally great.
Okay, fuck you. Do not ever come back. Oh my God, I hate those Phil bros so fucking much. Ugh. Yeah. If you can't use like normal language like a regular fucking person, then get the fuck out of here. Like, I do not have any interest in talking to you. Yes, Philbro fatigue is a very real thing. Idiot Philbro who couldn't engage like a normal fucking human. Fair enough. Yeah, it's just the tactic of the Philbro is to just be as obfuscatory as possible. Awesome, Sober. I will definitely check that out once I'm done here. All right. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking that you want to join the guest queue, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Spade. How old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
Okay. What God do you believe in? Okay. Oh, he was going to answer. Yeah, he was eventually going to answer. All right. Hi, Michael. How old are you?
18.
What God do you believe in?
The Christian God.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
Probably the same one as the guy before. He kind of like knowledge gapped you.
Just give the argument.
All right, I'm going to give it formally. Is that fine?
All right. You're just going to have to talk slow enough that I can write it down.
All right. And by formally, I mean like in FOL, by the way. But
oh, well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. If you use any language that a normal person who doesn't have philosophy education wouldn't use, then you're going to have to go back and give it again. So here's the
Well, you
terms.
just
The
said
terms here are that you use normal, regular, everyday English words. If you can't give the argument under that condition, then you don't actually understand the argument. So go ahead with the argument.
that's extremely vague, but I think everyone can understand the words I'm going to use.
Okay. And as soon as one it sounds like a Phil Bro bullshit word, I will call you out and you'll have to rephrase.
All right, this mod said non-academic language, so I'm only using academic anyways. So here we go. Premise 1 is just that possibly there exists an X such that G of X.
Okay, so again, you can't do that. I already told you that. That's a concession. Like, you already know that is not going to be allowed.
What?
Yes, it's a concession to know what the terms of the argument.
When did I ever disagree and then I agreed at the end? That's what a concession is, by the way.
No.
I never conceded anything.
No.
Yeah, a concession is when you come into
Okay, so you need to stop. You need to stop. So the terms of being here, in order to give an argument, is that you give it in normal language. Normal, everyday language that you would use with anybody who has never had any philosophy education. Those are the terms. So if you don't like those terms, you can leave. That's fine. Or you can give the argument, under those terms.
All right, well, that's just odd because earlier you said I could give it formally, and now you're saying I can't. Maybe
you
you
can
don't
give it in
understand
you can give it formally in the sense of like in a syllogism, like you can give
Oh,
like
no,
a
that's
premise
not what
by
formally
premise
means.
argument. But
That's
I'm
not
not
what-
going to deal. I'm not going to deal with. No, I'm not definitely not going to have you like present like quantified logic and the quantifiers and shit. No, you're either going to use normal language like any normal person would talk to their friends, or you can leave. I mean, it's your choice.
Well, the rage quit here is crazy, but yeah, I can translate it. I mean, it's just kind of odd because you said I can give it formally. And by the way, a syllogism doesn't mean that the argument is formal. That's just such a basic understanding. That's
Okay,
kind
so
of
do you
sad.
want to give it or not? Do you want to just talk meta?
Yeah, I just said I can translate it. Are you like lost? So here we go. It is possible that a maximally great being exists there. That's natural language, by the way.
It's possible that a maximally great being exists. Okay.
All right. A maximally great being is defined as one that exists necessarily.
Maximally great being is one that is defined as existing necessarily. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next one is just like the S5 axiom.
Nope. Give it in
So-
normal, everyday language.
well, it's an axiom. Axioms can govern natural language as well.
So
Like,
just
this is-
give the premise in normal, everyday language.
Yeah, this is. If something is possibly necessary, then that thing is necessary. And that's just axiomatic.
Premise 4, or is there a conclusion next?
The conclusion is just modus ponens from there.
I don't see any modus ponens here. What's the conclusion?
What? You didn't hear when I gave the conditional?
I see a conditional.
Okay, so modus ponens from there means that I affirm the antecedent from there. Wow, this is just sad, man.
You don't have an if P then Q, P therefore Q. That doesn't exist.
Wait,
in
you
your
just
argument.
said you just said that you saw.
I see a conditional, but I don't see.
Okay, so
I
if
don't
I'm saying
see
modus ponens, if I'm saying modus ponens from the conditional, that means that I'm affirming the antecedent. Do you know what an antecedent is?
Okay, so you're saying that there is a fourth premise that affirms the antecedent of the third premise?
Yeah, that's what I said.
No, I asked you if there was a fourth premise or a conclusion, and you said it was a conclusion, and then the conclusion was modus ponens.
Wait, conclusions are premises. Are you serious?
Oh my fucking god, dude.
Wow, this is
So
just embarrassing.
how many more points are there? Is there like a fourth premise and then a fifth premise at the conclusion, or is the next premise the conclusion?
Well, after a conditional, there's always a conclusion, or after you just affirm or deny.
No,
Either
you
the
need to
antecedent or the
just
consequent.
give me the okay. All right, just give me the rest of the argument. I've got the third premise. What's the rest of the argument?
I just told you, premise 4 would be just affirming the antecedents, and then premise 5 would just obviously be saying, which is the conclusion, that there is a possibly necessary being. Or there exists such X that is possibly necessary.
Okay, well, So premise
And this
3,
is
if something is
obviously
possibly
valid. So.
necessary, then that thing is necessary. Premise 4, something is possibly necessary. Conclusion, there is a possibly necessary being.
Mm-hmm. So this is obviously valid. So like, what do you disagree?
The first two premises are just completely disconnected. What are they doing?
What do you mean disconnected? Wait, you're saying like it's not valid or something?
I'm saying that premise from 3 on is valid, but it's not really saying anything. And premises 1 and 2 have nothing to do with premise 3 on.
Wait, how?
They don't connect in any way.
That's just a claim. I'm asking how.
I mean, you can certainly give me the inference rule if you think that they connect. What's the inference rule?
No, you made the positive claim, so the burden relies on you.
No, I'm rejecting the argument because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't actually get to anything.
By rejecting it, you made a positive claim that
No,
the premises don't connect.
either you can support the argument or you can concede.
Bro, why are you using buzzwords? Do you not know what concede means? This is kind of embarrassing for you.
You don't want to support the argument?
You just gave a positive claim. Do you know how burden of proof works?
You're giving a positive claim here and you haven't met your burden of proof. It's not on me to make your argument for you.
All you said was that it doesn't connect. That's a claim. I'm asking you to prove it.
Yeah, if you can show that it connects by giving the inference rule, then do that. I asked you to do it.
That's a fallacy. That's burden shifting.
No, it's not burden shifting. It's your
just
argument
saying
to
it's
support.
not burden shifting doesn't move the conversation anywhere.
If you're not going to support your argument, then it can just be rejected without any rebuttal.
I did support the argument. You're just saying
fantastic.
It doesn't connect, which is a claim.
Support it.
I did support it. You're just saying it doesn't connect.
Give me the inference rule.
Wait, did I not give you the inference rule earlier? Are you dense?
No, you didn't give the inference rule.
Oh, is modus ponens not an inference rule, dumbass?
Oh, so how many premises are in modus ponens?
Are you, bro? Holy shit!
How many premises are in modus ponens?
Obviously, it's both.
How many premises are in modus ponens? How many premises are in modus ponens?
Presumably 2. So.
Oh wait, hold on. Mr. All conclusions are premises. You think there are only 2 premises in modus ponens?
Yeah, there can be.
Really? Give me an example of a modus ponens argument that only has 2 premises under your definition that conclusions are premises.
You're gonna say like premise 1, if X then Q, modus ponens, and then the conclusion is just that there exists some X or something. I don't know. But that's an example, so can we move on?
No, This is amazing. Okay, cool. So this is your example here, and I'm just tickled pink that we got such a high level interlocutor here to school me right now. So this is your argument. This is what modus. Oh, I misspelled modus ponens. Look at me, huge blunder. So this is what your example of what this is modus ponens.
That can be, yeah.
Really? Okay, cool. What's your source? That this is what modus.
My
this
source?
Can be modus ponens. Yeah. What's a source that confirms that this is a valid version of modus ponens?
Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
Yeah. What page?
Just go to like formal logic and then go to the subpage inference rules and then go to modus ponens. All right. You remember how I said like earlier what modus ponens was? Can you just repeat back to me what I said?
I know what modus ponens is. If P, then Q.
What is
P,
it?
therefore Q.
Yeah, what is it?
I just told you.
No, in natural language.
It's a conditional plus the affirmation of the antecedent, which yields the consequent being true.
So if X, then Q. That's the conditional, right?
So then you would need another premise.
Okay, and then the conclusion is just affirming. So that is modus ponens.
No, it's not. You fucking idiot. The conclusion would be if Fx then Q, the conclusion would have to be Q. That's modus ponens.
What? The conclusion would have. What are you talking about?
If the first
modus ponens
if the
is
conditional,
affirming.
If the conditional of a modus ponens argument is if X then Q, then there must be a premise that confirms or that affirms X, and then the conclusion would have to be that Q is true. That's modus ponens. Your claim is that you can have this this version of modus ponens where there's only one non-conclusion premise and then one premise that's a conclusion, and that's obviously false. And you just don't want to admit the fact that you tried to be pedantic earlier and pretend that that conclusions and premises are the same thing. And then when you forgot about your pedantry and I asked you how many premises modus ponens has, you stuck your foot in your mouth by saying the correct answer, that it has 2 premises because it has 2 premises and a conclusion. But you're too big of you have too big of an ego to admit that you made that mistake. So now you're trying to pretend that there is a version of modus ponens that only has 1 premise, and then or 2 premises, or one of them. No, you didn't. This is not modus ponens.
It's not? So I'm not affirming the antecedent.
No, the modus ponens is a conditional affirmation of the antecedent, which concludes with the consequent being true. That's modus ponens.
It's just when you affirm the antecedent.
No. It's affirming the antecedent and concluding with the consequent. That's modus ponens.
No, that's not necessary.
Okay, so clearly you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And also, your argument from earlier is bullshit. Just giving something a definition doesn't mean that the thing that you've like giving a definition for something doesn't mean that the thing that you've defined actually exists. Even if you define something as being necessary, that doesn't mean that the necessary thing that you've defined exists. It just means that in order for the word to apply to something, that thing would at least have to have the property of being necessary. So all you've done is genuinely just, you came up here, pounded on your chest like you're some big guy and you're gonna, crush me, and then you shit your pants. You have
You're just
nothing.
like a blender machine. You're just like a blender machine. Necessary isn't a property. It's not no, necessary isn't a property. That's just embarrassing.
Yeah, oh my God, I'm just so embarrassed to be next to the genius that's you, who doesn't even know, doesn't even have the balls to admit when he's wrong, and then tries to pretend that he can say modus ponens is something it clearly isn't. I'm bored. Clearly you don't have anything actually real to talk about.
You didn't disagree.
So I'm going to go ahead and move on. Yeah, the argument that he gave is bullshit. Just saying that this thing, he's basically just trying to define something into existence. And we're not going to do that. Deathless Light, of course I'm not going to bring you up. You aren't capable of having a good faith linear conversation, and that's all I'm interested in. Especially after having 2 bad faith Philbros in a row, I'm definitely not bringing you up. There is just no chance. Absolutely no chance. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, that would have been the if we could have had a real conversation with that idiot, then we could have talked about how S5 is not the appropriate logical system to deal with modal ontological arguments. To what do I owe the pleasure?
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm going to illustrate a proper modus ponens.
Okay.
If hot dogs exist, they are tacos. Hot dogs exist, therefore hot dogs are tacos.
What? You think that you can come up on my platform and spread this kind of hateful, just ignorant rhetoric?
That's but I mean like S5. I mean Kant. I mean how does it feel to lose? Okay, yeah. Just wanted to add some levity.
I appreciate it. This is oh man, having multiple of those in a row is brutal.
Yeah,
I don't know if a hot
wanted to
dog
break up the flow.
I don't know if a hot dog is a taco, but it's mad. It's making me mad that I can't just immediately dismiss it.
We need to know the answer.
I'm sorry that I blew up on you. I was projecting.
No, it's all in good fun.
I appreciate you, Tree. Oh, it's been a good one. All right. Well, I think I'm just going to call it for the night. I've been going for 3 hours, and I typically only do 2. So I think we're going to... I think that multiple Philbros in a row is my sign.
Yeah. It is probably a sign from the Lord above.
From
it's time to pack it up, convert.
From Eunice herself.
Yep. Yep, all hail Eunice.
How do I get the hat on me when it does this thing? I think that the hats don't like the how my head blends into the background, so they don't know where to go. Oh, all right. Well, I appreciate you, Tree. I'm gonna drop you down. I'm gonna end, but thank you for giving me a chuckle.
Yeah. Big dubs for Ogar. Bye.
Bye. Big dubs for Tree. Tree rules. Okay. All right. Yeah. Definitely time to convert. All right. So, I'm going to call it for the evening. I definitely appreciate the people who were able to have good conversations. And we will all go to bed chuckling at the idiots who thought that they could, that Phil Bro bullshit was going to get them anywhere. But as I say at the end of all of my streams, just remember tomorrow is not guaranteed, which means that you don't know how many more opportunities you're going to have, to let your family and friends know that you love them, tell them how important they are to you, all those kinds of things. So take every one of those opportunities that you get. Otherwise, you might not get another one, right? So anyway, thank you, everybody.